Hello, and welcome to Roll for Question, a stream where I, a veteran DM, offer my advice on anything and everything Dungeons & Dragons. Any questions you may have, any comments, feel free to make them, and I will respond to them. And in the meantime, I would like to have a talk about making homebrew. Last couple ago, went through a bunch of homebrew on Reddit, on DnDHomebrew, and I'm going to be doing that again, but I want to talk about first what makes a good homebrew. Hey Timothy, good evening. There's a lot of good homebrew that gets made. There's a lot of passion in this community, and that's a good thing. And it's perfectly fine to just make homebrew. Even if it's bad, just make it. It's fine. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing harmful about that. Come at it with the right attitude. That just because you made something doesn't have to be good. It doesn't. It can just be practice. It can just be for fun. It can be, I made this. I don't think it's good. I'm not confident in it. But maybe it'll inspire something else that is good. And when you come at it with that attitude, like I feel like it's a lot healthier for your imagination, your brainstorming process, for all sorts of like gears in the game design wheels, gears in the game design engine that are essential to making good stuff like good homebrews. The most common flaw that I see in homebrews is people will come with an idea. They will start working on that idea, and then that idea will start working on the homebrew, not them. So, for example, if someone is saying, I want to make a praying mantis race for players to play as, like a mantis race, and I know there's analogs to that in D&D already, but I want to make a praying mantis. And okay, so what does a praying mantis have? Okay, they got really sharp arms, so I need to give them really sharp arms. They can jump, so I need to give them a big jump. They have wings, they can kind of fly. They have armor. They have weird sight, so they have blind sight, I guess. And there's like all these things that a praying mantis has, and I'm going down the list and I'm adding them to the race. And by the end of the exercise, I've made an absurdly unbalanced mess. And I often see that people will take this thought process and they will present it for feedback, and the feedback will be, well, that's unbalanced. And the response will be, all right, well, how do I make this balanced? Because you don't want to, like, the vision is being a praying mantis, and cutting any of these things is cutting into that vision. That's not a healthy way to approach homebrew, just in general. You're not trying to replicate a particular thing. What you're trying to do, theoretically at least, if you're trying to make something that you want other people to play with, you're trying to make something that adds to the game experience that is going to be present at the table for the DM and for the players. And being perfectly accurate to what you're trying to represent is not as important as being fun, as being flavorful, as being inspiring. So if you make a praying mantis and you give it way too many things, but cut 90% of the things that don't, like, it's still a praying mantis. Like, you still got blade hands and you can still jump. Like, that's it. Like, that still could be flavorful at the table. That could still, depending on how well you implement that could still be a lot of fun for a player to pick up. Praying mantis wizard. I can do a lot of things with these hands that maybe you weren't anticipating, but as a player, I come up with something, and it could be like your goal as a brewer, if you want other people to use your brews, is make it fun for the player and the DM, and that's it. You don't need to go, okay, well, it's illogical if I have this species but it can't fly. It's illogical. Like, okay, throw that away. That has nothing to do with fun. So some people, they make brews and they present them for feedback, and you give them feedback and they're like, well, this is just for my table. Okay, if it's just for your table, that's fine. Do that. Do whatever you want. Have fun. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's hard to give feedback on that if nobody else knows your table. But the assumption is that we're talking about, what if this brew were to be used at everyone's table? The average table. Maybe not everyone's table, but most tables. And thinking like a game designer is not enough, because another problem that we may experience as we're going through the Reddit here, a lot of people make brews as if D&D was a video game, and that's not like unhealthy or anything, but it's not super helpful, because what do I mean by that? So imagine we're playing like we're making a mod for Doom, and we made a mod that makes the all the guns shoot twice as fast. That's fun for the player, and we don't care about the computer. The computer's not going to feel bad. The computer is it's happy to do whatever you tell it to do. So that mod is fine in Doom, maybe. It might not be fine, but if you were to take that exact same concept and bring it to D&D, everyone attacks twice as fast. Okay. How do the players feel? The players might enjoy that. They're like, I get to roll more dice, I get to do more damage. How does the DM feel about that? They're probably not happy with that. They're probably not. It's not healthy to the game for the DM to be like, okay, well, now these players are attacking twice as fast. What do? I have to do something to compensate for that. The combat is going a lot slower because each person's turn is taking twice as long. I need to do something about that. Blah 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 blah. Like when you're making a homebrew for D&D, it's not just the person who's using the homebrew you have to think about. You have to think about the player that's using it. You have to think about the other players at the table. How do they feel about this one player getting this coolness? Do they get to be a part of it, or do they just get to be jealous? You also have to think about the DM. This needs to be fun for the DM to run. If you make something that's a headache for the DM, if it's like, well, now this player is playing a praying mantis, and now they're decapitating all of my enemies, so I need to only shove enemies that don't have heads at the party. And then the player is like, well, now I have this decapitation ability, but there's no more heads, so I'm not having fun. The DM's not having fun. No one's having fun because of that. Like, so you have to keep that in mind when you're doing designs. I talked about this last time. I'm just going to reiterate it, but it's something that most brewers are focused on is this homebrew balanced? That's the first question they ask. And I've already said that, like, that's probably the least important question when you're making a homebrew. Like, it's important. You do have to do it, but you should worry about first, is it fun? Is it imaginative? Does it have the right amount of depth? Is it really complex? Is it a burden on the players or the DM? There's a lot of other things that you should maybe, if something is unbalanced, we can balance. If something is unbalanced, but it's fun, it's imaginative, it's cool, we can figure out a way to balance it. Maybe we can also give it more leeway. Like, really cool stuff can have leeway to be a little unbalanced. Like base D&D, the core D&D has plenty of that in the game. Like, if you look at the math for several spells, like Fireball is overpowered, but we forgive it because it's cool. Meteor Swarm, really overpowered. It does like twice as much damage as a 9th level spell is supposed to do, but we forgive it. Partly because no one plays high level D&D, but partly because it's cool. Like, we forgive it. You know, there is an element of that available for good homebrews. Like, this is overpowered, but it's so cool that I'm gonna allow it. You know, that kind of thing. It's been said in the past, and I fully agree with this, that if Barbarian was not a class in D&D, and then someone were to come up with a homebrew and say, I invented this homebrew class called the Barbarian, everyone would call it overpowered. Here's a class. You don't get to wear armor, but you get to have a natural armor bonus. You get to move faster for no reason. You can get angry and all of your attacks are at advantage. And you get resistance to melee damage. Well, not melee damage, weapon damage. Like, oh my gosh, that's so overpowered. Like, what are you doing? This is crazy. Like, this makes the fighter very sad. But it's in the game. It's a base class, and you know, everyone has. No one is like, Barbarian has ruined the game. No one says that. I mean, no one who plays 5th edition says that. I'm sure there are people who are like, Barbarian ruined the game because elves ruined the game, and wizards not needing to, forgetting their spells ruined the game. Like, sure. But Barbarian, perfectly fine. Is it overpowered? Kind of. But not really at the same time. Like, we forgive it, we let it in, and then you know, I've never been at a table where someone brings a Barbarian and everyone's like, oh my god, It's going to be that kind of game. Like that, I've not seen that. I have seen games where the barbarian is overpowered, and people are like, dude, come on, chill. But they didn't blame that on the barbarian. They blamed that on the player, which, is that fair? Anyway, when you're making homebrews, you're thinking about the play experience. You are thinking about the play experience. And one more thing to think about, because I've said previously, I'm going to say it again. D&D is not a game that exists. The game in the book isn't a game that exists. The book, the rules are the rules for a game. They get handed to the DM. The DM makes the game out of those rules. What does that mean? Every DM is different. Every table is different. We're all playing our own unique interpretations of these rules in this player's handbook, in this Dungeon Master's Guide. Everyone has their own special flavor at their table. What does this mean for you as a homebrewer? This means that when you're making your rules, you're making them for D&D, but keep in mind that D&D is going to get translated by the DM. It's going to be translated by the players. It's not going to come out exactly as you intend, because you're playing a different game as everyone else. We're all playing different games as everyone else. There's similarities, so it's not like it's impossible to have a conversation about it. But you want to enable the DM to make the best game possible with your content. So that doesn't mean just like I've written something, it's great at my table, therefore I'm done. You want to write it in such a way that when you hand it to another DM, they either do what you intend and they get the fun that you expect them to have, or they figure out a better way with what you've given them and they make their table even better. And doing that is very hard, complicated, and it's kind of hard to express. Like, I just leave it at that. That's kind of the hard part of coming up with content for this, for tabletop role-playing games in general, but for D&D homebrewing, you're making game content that's going to get translated by the DM, and you want to make sure that the DM has the tools they need to translate that in the most fun way possible, and perhaps the most inspiring way possible for that. You want to encourage the DM to use your content. You don't want. I made a praying mantis. It's going to take the DM 30 minutes to figure out how to make encounters balanced because of how I structured this class. You want it to be like, I made a praying mantis class, and now the DM is like, oh my gosh, I have so many options for encounter building now that I didn't have before. This is amazing. I'm having so much fun. Thank you, player, for being a praying mantis, and thank you, game designer, for making this praying mantis. Like, that's what you want the DM to be like. And having that mindset is important, because that just doesn't happen naturally. Like, if you just, I made a praying mantis and I gave it flight and I gave it decapitation and I gave it blindsight, that does not produce excitement in the DM. You have to really, really work at that to make that happen. And you can kind of, if you're looking out for it, you can kind of see it. Let's see if we see it. Let's go into the homebrews on D&D Homebrew. It's free RPG day. Go get you a free RPG at your local game store if you're listening to this right now and it's in your time zone and all that, blah, blah, blah. We'll start with this. Maybe we shouldn't, because this looks like an adventure. This is a one-shot for D&D. How many pages is this? Salt and add. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6. Okay, that's good. Let's look at it. I don't know why I clicked that. That's not how I review docs. That's not how I do it either. I need to open a new tab. Click on the tab. There we go. Okay, and I see my head is in the way, so I'm just going to shrink down. Boop. Boop. Okay, we're on the credits. That's not the right page. How do I not be on this page? Oh, I have to do it like this? Oh, this isn't a PDF. This is like a bunch of images. Okay. Great. Can I not just... Oh, this works. Oh, actually, no, it doesn't. Does this work? Nope, that doesn't work. Don't mind me. I'm just being silly. All right. Design, trigger warning, spiders. Appreciate that because I do know people who have arachnophobia and, don't make fun of it because you want to include them. Usually, what we do is we replace the spiders with scorpions and it's fine. Like, the spiders aren't that important anyway. The scorpions suffice just as well. Salt and Ash disclaimer is a series of slot-in sessions with a grim dark tone. I thought this was a one-shot. The slot-in session? Okay, so the title says 5+... Okay, there's nothing that... No, this is a one-shot. 5 free one-shots. This is our newest one, Salt and Ash Cobalt Trapper. Okay. Slot-in sessions. I assume that means... That's a language I'm not familiar with. I assume that means, like, you can use this one-shot in the middle of a campaign. I don't like that, but it's fine. Enemies strike first, hit hard, and fight dirty. This is for 4 to 6 characters of level 1. And they strike first, hit hard, and fight dirty? Are you sure? Okay, the adventure isn't unfair. All right, I'm already scared. I'm scared that this is going to kill a party. I'm scared that we're going to get to the first encounter and it's going to be like, all right, throw a fireball at the party. Those who survive, shoot magic missiles at them until they die. That's what I'm primed for that at this point. This adventure itself isn't unfair. Dangers are telegraphed. Traps have clues. Characters with a sharp eye and healthy sense of self-preservation can spot the threat before it strikes, and in most cases turn it back on the enemies. Encourage creative thinking. Clever plans, good scouting, and caution should all pay off. The world is cruel, but not arbitrary. All right, I'm just going to... Remember, retreat is always an option. Nope, it is not. Not in this game. I'm sorry. The Black Mine is the only easily accessible source of stone in the... Okay, so this is the background. The Lord dispatched night to eliminate the threat. Okay, the mine remains off limits. So there's a mine. It's been contaminated with Cobalt Trapper. 1 Cobalt Trapper. A bunch of traps. Oh, no. Oh, no. Not no. I'm worried. Traps are scary in D&D. Traps at level 1 are especially scary in D&D. And this adventure says it's cruel but fair. Okay. Let's just get into it. All right, so we got a mine. It's trapped. There's 1 kobold trapping it. Here are some plot hooks. Cool. We'll just assume that those are good. A1, the approach. To reach the kobold, the adventurers must first cross a minor river and enter the mine. The current is strong. Each character must succeed on a DC 10 athletic check. Okay, so there's no box text to introduce the scene. There's no, like, painting a picture here. I am a little not sure where we are. We're at a river. We have to swim across. There's no alternative way across, because we don't have enough of an image to. The adventure says we have to succeed on a DC 10 strength check. On a failure, they take 1d6 bludgeoning damage from being battered against the rocks, though their body still makes it across. Okay, that's not really deadly to a level 1 party. 1d6 damage. What I expect will happen. Party will cross. Some people will fail because, that's how the d20 be. Someone might take 6 damage and they have 6 hit points and they got dropped to 0, and that's a problem right there. But we'll assume that is unlikely. Everyone gets across and then they short rest. They short rest to heal that back up. They might not heal the full because at level 1 you only have 1 hit die, and if you roll a 1 on that, you don't get you're in trouble. I don't see any reason why they couldn't long rest. Is there a time pressure attached to this? It doesn't look like there's a time pressure. The villager's stone supply is slowly dwindling with each new incursion. Okay. Potentially leading to the slaughter of dozens of innocents. Okay, so this is a very small village. Well, could long rest. There's no time pressure here, so sure. That's a bit bit of a flat approach. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. This is just the intro. There's a bridge. There's a storage shed. There's a bridge crossing the river. Why are we swimming into the river if there's a bridge? They pass near. An adventurer swims across the river with a rope. All remaining party members gain advantage on the check. A sturdy-looking bridge crosses the river. Why aren't we just using the bridge? Clear, deep humanoid footprints lead across it to the entrance of the mine. They pass near a small storage shed that has a heavy door barricadable from the outside. Barricadable from the outside? Okay. Though the bridge looks stable, the water beneath it foams unnaturally. There are spikes in the riverbed just underneath the bridge. Is that... Sure. Okay, that's fine. A character who swims across the river and succeeds on both the athletics check and the DC 13 perception check or investigation check can determine that the bridge... Okay, so there's absolutely no way I would expect a player to be in the middle of swimming across this river and be like, wait a minute. I want to make an investigation check for no reason. Like, I will not expect that. They might do it before they swim, sure. But a character who swims across the river and succeeds on both the athletics check and a DC 13 or DC, can determine that the bridge has been rigged to collapse if more than one creature steps on it at once. If the trap is triggered, anyone on the bridge takes 1d6 piercing damage from the submerged spikes and must still make the athletics check with disadvantage to cross the river. That doesn't seem fair. I'm not actually convinced that that's fair. You have to swim across the river before you can make the perception or investigation check? I don't think that's I'm just gonna move on. The storage shed is small and mostly picked over by locals. It now has crude wooden holders on the outside to allow the building to be barricaded shut from the outside. Inside there's a bunch of stuff. Cool, and that's the end of that page. Cool, and I misclicked. The chest has emergency stash written in Draconic and looks newer than the rest of the shed's contents. It can be opened. Why would you do... Don't worry about it. Why? It can be opened in one of the following ways. A sleight of hand check or an athletics check. Any source of at least 1d8 bludgeoning damage to smash it open. Sure, that's fine. Inside are 2 vials of red liquid resembling basic healing potions. However, they give off a strong, bitter almond scent. Are they trapped healing potions? What are you doing, my guy? They're actually basic poisons. Except they take 1 minute to apply and last for 8 hours. That is not okay. It's not okay. At level 1? And then we cast Fireball at the party. And then we shoot Scorching Ray at the wizard to make sure they're dead. If the chest is smashed open, 1 vial spills. Alright, whatever. Bitter almond stench fills the shed. The smell dissipates after 1 minute, but any character who remains inside the shed for the entire duration gains the following effect until next long rest. What? Each time a character spends 1 or more hit dice at the end of a short rest, they must roll twice and pick the lower result. Oh god, that's insane. That is... Yeah, this is... Okay. Yeah, this is mean. This is just mean. That is incredibly mean. Let's move on. I'm okay. I don't think I expect that a party that goes through that is not going to be happy. There's no groundwork laid for this difficulty. It's not impossible to make a difficult thing at level 1. Totally fine. But you kind of want the party to brace for it. You don't want the party to be like, here's a river. Oh, but there's a bridge over there. Oh, but you use the bridge, you idiot. You idiot. Take 1d6 piercing damage. And yes, now you have to roll this thing to not die. Oh, you died. Oh, darn. Well, good news. There's a shed over there. And there's healing potions in that shed. But if you drink them... Well, actually, you die, and everyone else can't short rest as good now. I'm sorry. This is the beginning. This is the beginning. We haven't gotten to the mine yet. This is the pre-mine. What are we doing? Do we hate our party? Do we hate the players? Okay, the black mine. The mine is made from a dark gray stone that seems to absorb the light, though it has no mechanical effect. Sure. The wall is lined with small, dull crystals that emit a faint glow, just enough to see by. The crystals are brittle and nearly worthless, fetching over a few copper coins each. The party cannot have anything worth of value until at least one of them dies. We haven't even entered the mine yet. Absolutely no value is allowed anywhere. Could this be worth anything? No. Get out. Be gone. To be fair, I don't want my party stealing everything everywhere as they roam through the dungeon, so I'm not actually opposed to being like, it's not worth anything, move on, play the game. God, what are you doing? Stop being klepto. Until Area 4, the mine's ceiling is roughly 15 feet high. From that point onward, it lowers to 5 feet, and remains that way for the rest of the areas. Okay, so does that mean the rules should stay here? They should just be upfront about that. Does that mean that the party members who are more than 5 feet tall have to squeeze for the rest of the dungeon? Or does that mean nothing? And like, okay, I'm 5 feet. I'm 6 feet tall, but I'm perfectly fine if I'm just hunched over for the rest of this dungeon. Like, there's no mechanical downside. I would like the adventure to say that explicitly here, because as a DM, should I punish my players for being too tall? Or is that too mean? Are we being, because like this adventure is tough, but it's fair. Is it fair to punish my players for being tall? I want to know. I want the game designer to tell me. I don't want to have to do that as a DM. I would like to be able to blame the one shot for that decision. Okay. The entire area feels abandoned. Tools start to rust, and overturned tarts lie in a thick layer of dust. Near Area 3, cobwebs begin to appear, clinging to the corners and equipment. The first chamber and the adventurers enter is a tool storage area. Is this a linear? I assume this is linear. Scattered mining gear lies where it... Is this a 5-room dungeon? Hold on. I don't think it is. No, it is not. That's fine. It doesn't need to be. It's just a curiosity. First chamber, the adventurers enter is a tool storage area. There's mining gear. There's one of each simple melee weapon. Gathering all weapons would net adventurers 1 gold coin, or half of them if they give them back to the miners. Okay. Sure. 2 bottles of alchemist fire rest on a is this alchemist fire, or are these actually spiders in the shape of alchemist fire? Who knows with this adventure? I am concerned that I'm going to read the next paragraph and it's going to be like, if someone touches the alchemist fire, they catch fire, and spiders come down and they're like, we eat fire. We're actually fire spiders. Okay, okay. This room is not trapped. Okay. However, kobold footprints are only found along the far right edge, away from Area 3, with the creature avoiding the cobweb-covered section of the mine. Okay. Calm down. Simmer down. Okay, all right, come on. We've got this crawling menace here. This mined-out alcove. Okay, wait a minute. Did we miss a map? This is linear, right? There's nothing here that tells me how to get to any area from any area. So I assume this is linear, but let me be charitable. Actually, look. Did I miss something here that's like... To get to A1 leads to A2, A2 leads to A3, A3 leads to A4. Okay. And there's not like a map in the appendix. Nope. Okay. A3. This mined-out alcove contains an old beer brewing barrel and a deep hole. That's cool. It's so dark that nothing can be seen at the bottom. Is that different than normal dark? Like, it's extra dark? Whatever. Adventurers with dark vision can see that the darkness is moving and shifting as if it were a liquid. Okay, that's scary. A rope is tied to a crude winch mechanism above the pit designed for lowering and raising supplies. So is there a slime down there? Is there an ooze down there? Thick cobwebs blanket the area around the edge of the pit. It appears one of the miners once used the shaft as a cold storage space for fermenting lager. Unfortunately, the moisture and darkness attracted a swarm of cave spiders, which now nests in the hole. What's at the bottom of the pit, though? You can't just leave me hanging there. The darkness down there is shifting like a liquid. What is that? I need to know. Like, I can't run this without knowing. Okay, there's a swarm of cave spiders nested in a hole. Is that what the shifting is? Is spiders? Because that's a letdown. That's a letdown. The party with dark vision should be able to see spiders in the dark. That's what dark vision is. Like, if you don't let them see that, you are breaking the rules of dark vision. And the players have a right to be mad at you if you do that. Because that's, I mean, if you tell them before the game starts, this is a tough but fair adventure, and dark vision may not see spiders in the dark. Just letting you know. Okay, if you do that, then okay, yeah, you can do this. This is totally fine. But if the party can't see the spiders with dark vision, what are we doing? What are we doing? Okay, the adventurers can attempt to raise whatever is tied to the rope. They can make a strength check. However, it's old and rusted, and turning it makes a loud grinding noise unless properly maintained. It can be maintained with a sleight of hand check. Sure. I don't see how the players would ever imagine that, so you'd probably have to tell them that. Or apply oil. That would work. If they fail to keep it quiet, a cave spider swarm will emerge from the shaft after one round. It'll attack any creature still left on the left side of the minecart tracks when it surfaces. There's a minecart track in here? Did I miss that? Has that been mentioned before? There's a minecart track in this room. Okay. Yeah, great. Regardless of the spiders, the adventurers retrieve a standard-sized barrel from the pit, now covered in thick webs. Inside is a brewed, long-fermented lager. The barrel can be sold for 10 gold. Wow, we're generous here. We can sell something for more than a single gold. We can also drink this brew, which gives us temporary hit points equal to the average roll of the hit dice multiplied by their current level. In addition, they gain advantage on saving throws against effects that apply the frightened condition until the next long rest. Alright. Since they're level 1, we don't have to multiply jack. You could have just said, everyone gains 4 temporary hit points. That would have been a much shorter paragraph. But maybe that's why it's as long as it is, because that would have been a much shorter paragraph. Okay, so I'm still, like, confused. There's a mine track in here. There's a hole, and it's got spiders in there, but no one can see them because there's this deep shifting liquid down there. There's a winch. I don't understand why the party needs to raise what's attached to a rope, because what rope? A rope is tied to a crude winch mechanism of the pit designed for lowering and raising supplies. Okay, so why would the party... Is that how they get to the next room? Do they need to progress vertically here? Okay, this mined out alcove. Okay. It's an alcove. There's a beer brewing barrel and a deep hole. There's a rope with a winch mechanism to go into the hole. Okay, so I assume that's where A4 is, down the hole. The moisture and darkness. There's a swarm of cave spiders in the hole. So you're going down into the hole with the spiders. Are you going in the hole? I don't understand. What's in the hole? What's the point of this winch if it's not to go in the hole? Does not say that anywhere. How to get to A4. Just going to move on. I'm confused. I don't understand, but that's fine. To progress deeper into the mine, the adventurers must pass through 2 areas reinforced by old support beams. Both have been rigged with traps by the kobold. Okay, the first set of beams have an alarm trap. That's basically the upper limit of what you're allowed to do is a first level trap. An alarm trap. You trigger this trap, and now you know that monsters know that you know where you are. First passage is blocked by 3 thin strings tied across the path at staggered heights. A small creature can slip through easily. Are these not hidden? They're blocked by 3 thin strings tied across the path at staggered heights. They're not hidden. So you'll just see, why would anyone trigger them? You just, like, I don't understand. Each string is connected to a set of small bells hanging 15 feet above the ground. How tall is it? I thought this was A4. We're at A4? Until A4, the mine ceiling is roughly 15 feet high. Fair. But then at that point on, which is area 4, it lowers to 5 feet. How is this 15 feet in the above the ground? Don't worry about it. If the string is pulled or tension is not maintained, the bells ring loudly, sending an echo throughout the mine. Fine. Safely allow a medium creature through without a check. At least 2 of the strings must be cut. Can the medium creature just not squeeze? Can they not, like, limbo? Players are going to absolutely try to limbo. What do I do about that if the players try to limbo? Who knows? No, you have to cut at least 2 of the strings and held taut, or the bells must be disabled and removed. If the alarm is triggered, the mine simply echoes with ringing. The kobold hears it and becomes more alert, gaining advantage on their initiative roll when the party finally confronts them. Okay, I don't know why I closed that. Let's reopen that because I might need to come back to it. Second set of stone beams. Stone poison. That is not appropriate at level 1, sir. Or ma'am, I don't know. I'm not judging. The second obstacle is a low clearance area where the ceiling drops sharply. Okay, so the ceiling hasn't dropped yet, but it's dropping now. Fine. Beneath the support beams lies a minecart filled with crushed stone. The stones are coated in a sticky purple substance. A thin dusting of white flour is visible beneath and ahead of the cart. Pass through, the adventurers must crawl over the rubble. Doing so without placing a cloak, blanket, or similar cover over the stones causes 1 piercing damage from the jagged ends. Alright, that's mean. Additionally, the purple resin affects the nervous system. Oh, okay, so it's not stone poison. It's poison on stones. That's still mean, but not the same thing. Stone poison means poison that turns you to stone. Yeah. Or it could also mean poison that affects stone, but I don't think that's context clues. You can tell that's not what it is. This is just poison on stones. Any character that takes the piercing damage suffers disadvantage on their initiative roll for the upcoming combat. That's silly. Whatever. At least it's not that mean. Alternatively, the cart can be pushed forward, clearing the way. However, this movement triggers a rigged bucket, dumping flour over anyone in the area. Unless washed off with at least 1 gallon of water, the flour leaves a flammable residue on the skin and clothes. The next time the afflicted character takes fire damage, they are vulnerable to that instance of fire damage. Alright, that sounds a little silly. I know flour is flammable, but it's not like... I don't know. That's just silly. This chamber contains a crude... the flour being flammable is... It's true. It's very true. It's kind of a meme as well. Like, yeah, you fill a silo full of flour, and the fumes are flammable, and they can cause the silo to burn down. But it's not like, okay, if you bake a piece of bread, and then you go outside, like, your hands aren't going to catch on fire. It's not, like, that bad. It's not. It doesn't make fire twice as deadly. I don't like that. But whatever. Kobold Gods. A5. This chamber contains a crude ritual shrine built around a sharpened stick driven... I just realized. The ceiling gets lower here, but we don't explain that the tall party members need to crouch. So I don't know if that need to crouch. It's not explained here. I assume the ceiling is still low. This chamber contains a crude ritual shrine built around a sharpened stick driven to a cracked stone pedestal. Around it, a circle has been drawn in dried humanoid blood. Etched into the stone are words that appear to shift in real time. They begin in Draconic, but as each adventure reads them, the text morphs into the language they know best. Is that magic that's happening? Are we just saying that happens? Do we just accept that? Okay. Yeah, you're reading this and it's Draconic. No, I changed my mind. It's common now. A successful wisdom religion check reveals that the shrine belongs to Uzan, the kobold god of blood, luck, and traps. He is said to grant protection to all those who offer blood to him. An adventurer presses their hand to the circle and offers blood. They take 1d4 piercing damage and experience a faint warm sensation that fades after a few seconds. 1d4 piercing damage is a lot of damage at level 1. But they ignore the next trap. Okay. How many more traps are in this dungeon? We're already at A5. The shrine can be destroyed. If this happens, the kobold in Area 8 loses access to their Trapmaker's Luck ability. That's a little much. Unless this is a cleric kobold, that's a little much. They've got a shrine here that alright, whatever. I'm missing the there's no downside here, so the party can just ignore this. Yeah, they can just ignore us and move on. I don't expect, unless you make it clear to the party that something magical is happening, something mysterious is happening, I don't expect the party to think of this as anything more than just like, there's a bunch of stone here. There's a little stone statue here. There's some religion going on, you know? I don't see a stone statue, and a non-magical stone statue, and I don't think I better bleed on that statue. Like, maybe other people do. That's fine. For those that come after, unlike the other areas in the mine, this room has a door that can be securely barred from the inside. The lock is crude, but sturdy enough to withstand the efforts of an average medium humanoid trying to force it open. Inside, what is the door made of? It's just sturdy. It's just sturdy. The lock is crude, but sturdy. Okay. Could it be made of stone? Is it wood? Because I'm pretty sure someone's going to chop that door down if it's made of wood. Whatever. Inside, there's a temporary camp with some preserved food and cheap alcohol left behind by the night. In addition to standard mining tools and crates of stone debris, there are eyeball-looking mushrooms scattered throughout that slowly rotate to face the adventurers. Okay, that's cool. I like where this is going. They behave like sunflowers, except they track living creatures rather than the sun. Okay. If destroyed, they emit a psychic scream that gives everyone in the room disadvantage on their next spell attack roll, or their enemy an advantage against... Why? This was so cool. This was cool imagery for a second, and then it's like, alright, and if they do anything to the eyeballs, they get psychically attacked. And they get disadvantage on their next spell, and everyone has advantage on their next attack against them. Not everything needs to be. Let some things just be cool without being like a stick in the eye. Besides that, they're harmless, and adventurers can take a short rest here without consequences. Great. The chamber is thick with toxic plants in A7, many of which were used by the kobold for its traps. Any adventurer that suffers from the weakened body takes 1d4 poison. Okay. Sure. Whatever. I give up. Lying near the back of the room is a burnt skeleton of the night. This is a fair adventure. The adventure writer said so I am not allowed to be upset at. You have to take 1d4 poison damage because you tried to drink a healing potion, you idiot. That wasn't a healing potion. You're an idiot. You didn't cast Identify on it, even though we're level 1, and who does that at level 1? Lying near the back of the room. Who gives people a fake healing potion at level 1? Lying near the back of the room is a burnt skeleton of the knight who first entered the mine. His armor is blackened and partially melted, but among the ashes there is a small pouch containing a single potion of healing. No. It's not a potion of healing. If you drink this potion, it casts Fireball on you at 7th level. And then 48 beholders show up and they all death ray you. Okay, these types of toxic flora grow in this room. 3 types of toxic flora grow in this room. Each can be harvested with a successful wisdom, survival, or intelligence nature check. The plants, okay, what are they? Oh, they can be ingested or applied to a weapon. So these are poison. These are poisons, okay? Shimmering blue moss that emits a faint metallic scent. The target must make a DC 13 con save, or can't take reactions and has disadvantage on initiative rolls. These berries can be mixed with another poison for 1 hour. Any creature reduced 0 hit points by poison damage at disadvantage on death saving throws and cannot use abilities that allow them to drop 1 hit point upon being reduced to heat. Oh my god. Why? That's so mean. This is a poison that punishes orcs specifically. Screw you, half-orc. You thought you would be able to survive one hit? Not in this adventure. No way. You're getting fireballed and you're dropping to 0. Oh, this is... Okay, there's one more. A midnight purple flower with starlit petals, the witherblight thorn. It only blooms where a sentient creature has died in the past year. That's cool. Target must succeed on a DC 13 con save or be afflicted for 1 minute. While afflicted, they only receive half the healing from any... So, okay. That's mild, because how much healing is happening at level 1? Sure. If it was just this, I would give it a pass. But that's mean. And this, what are we doing? What are we doing? All right, and we're here at the end of the road. Kobold Trapper, we've got to see the stats for the Kobold Trapper and the spiders. Awaits at the end of the mine. For a party of 5 or more, set up 3 traps in front of the kobold before combat starts. Once it spots adventurers, there's a brief surprise on its face as it did not expect the adventurers to try to survive that long. It will initially try to negotiate with the party in broken common, offering to leave voluntarily, but it's lying. Aftermath. If it's defeated, the adventurer finds a detailed map along with its belongings and marks the locations of every trap within the mine. Okay, the map is worth 30 gold pieces. Kind of stingy, but whatever. If the adventurers fail to stop the kobold, the villagers' fortifications will continue to deteriorate at the next major incursion. Their walls crumble, and many of the outposts fall. In the months that follow, the frontier will become a ghost region, with survivors fleeing inward, closer to the kingdom's crownlands. Okay. Well, let's take a look at these stats. First, the cave spider swarm. A CR1 creature. 18 hit points. That is not CR1. But it's a swarm. Does it get something to... Oh, it has vulnerability to fire. Okay. Okay. It's actually really slow. It has resistance to slashing and piercing. Is that because it's a swarm? That's not really good to have at level 1, but whatever. That does offset the hit points being low, so that's fine. Swarm, yep. Spider climb, yep. Egg incubators. Regardless of how much damage the swarm does with a single attack, it cannot cause an instant death. That's really good at level 1 because that's my biggest fear. Is a crit happening and now 2 people don't get to play the game. 1,000 little critters. The spider swarm can take a maximum of 15 damage from a single instance of damage. That's not good. No. Whatever. The spider swarm makes 1 bite attack and 1 scuttle attack at CR1. Are you kidding me? It does 3d4 piercing damage on a hit, and it does 3d4. That is not CR1. 64 is 15 damage per round. 15 damage per round is that CR1? That could be CR1 actually. Now that I think about it. I really want to look it up because I want to know, but I'm not gonna. I'm concerned that that's not CR1. But when a creature is reduced to 0 hit points by the spider swarm, the spiders can choose to crawl all over them, planting eggs in every accessible area. Unless the creature dies, it is healed to full hit points. Unless the creature dies, is healed to full hit points, or receives fire damage, the eggs will hatch in 3 rounds, creating another cave spider swarm. At level 1? We're doing chrysalids at level 1? What are you doing? No. Get out of here. I'm not even going to look at the tactics. I'm not even going to look. Alright. Kobold Trapper. I think there were creatures in base D&D that were like that, where it's like, if they kill you, you spawn. I mean, Undead did that for sure. There might have been beasts that did that in basic D&D, where it's like if they kill you, They plan to spawn in you, and a chest burster happens in 3 rounds. That might be a thing. That is absolutely not a thing in 5th edition. Undead do still they still can spawn more undead, but not at level 1. Absolutely not. That is no. Mm-mm. No. No. Cobalt Trapper. Okay, a Cobalt Trapper's speed is 40 feet for some reason. Are Kobolds faster? And I didn't realize that. CR1 only has 15 hit points. Absolutely not. But he has survival instinct. When a Kobold would drop to 0 hit points, it makes a con saving throw. So we're a zombie, actually. This Kobold is actually a zombie. Fun fact. The save automatically fails if 2 or more hostile creatures are adjacent to the Kobold. That's silly. I don't know why that. I don't know why. Kobold makes 2 hatchet attacks and then throws 2 makeshift traps. What? At least these hatchets do 1d4 plus 3 damage. So that could be in the DPR of a CR1 creature. But throwing 2 traps, Kobold hurls a single-use trap to any point it can see within 20 feet. It lands as a tiny object that projects a 10-foot radius zone and arms at the start of the Kobold's next turn. Each time a trap moves within the zone, the trap affects every creature. All right, this isn't going to matter at all. So what's going to happen is the Kobold throws out 2 traps, and then it dies. And then the combat's over, and who cares about the traps? It only has 15 hit points. And even though it's a zombie, zombies do not last that long against the CR1 party, or not a level 1 party. Bonus action. Oh, the Kobold chooses an arm trap within 20 feet. It topples, slides 5 feet, then triggers. Okay, that's cool. I mean, it's a little weird, but I think you can... A good DM can make that work. So that's fine. Reactions. Get down. When a ranged attack targets the Kobold, it may jump up to 5 feet to an empty space and falls prone, gaining prone effects and any cover against that attack. Okay. It's weird that only this Kobold can do that, but like that mechanic is fine because now the Kobold is prone and everyone gets advantage on melee attacks against it. Surrounded. When a creature finishes moving next to the Kobold and at least one other creature is already adjacent to the Kobold can immediately move up to its speed without Why? The Kobold can immediately move up to its speed without provoking opportunity attacks and may pass through meeting. What? You're going to piss off the players so hard with that. This is a fair and balanced adventure. This adventure, it's totally fair that if you surround this Kobold, he gets out of jail free. It was totally established in the very first page. Sorry, not the first page. The second page. Look, read it and weep. I can't. I'm doing it wrong. I'm also going insane. Look, the adventure itself isn't unfair. Dangers are telegraphed. So it says it right here. Therefore, this is totally fair. When a creature finishes moving next to the Kobold and at least one other creature is already adjacent to it, it can just leave. No. No. Okay. No. I'm gonna move on. I think I've said enough. I've been talking for an hour. How would I approach this to fix? Okay, hold on, wait. I have the list of theme, imagination. This has theme. Absolutely. This has the theme and imagination. Nailed it. I love that. Mechanical complexity and depth. I feel like mechanical complexity and depth. I feel like if you take this adventure as a whole, it's actually very complex. There's a lot of mechanics here that the players aren't going to expect. So it's up to the DM to establish beforehand that these things can happen. You should be aware, players. So you're not surprised when, like, the spiders killed you. So now the spiders plant eggs, and now 3 rounds from now there's more spiders. You've got to establish that before you do it, or the players are going to be like, sure, you know what? Let's just fireball us, okay? You don't want that to happen. You want the players to be... It even says at the beginning of this adventure, all of the dangers are telegraphed. Okay, I can't do that. I have to do this. All of the dangers
Dangers are telegraphed. Traps have clues. Characters with a sharp eye and a healthy sense of self-preservation can spot the threat before it strikes. This adventure doesn't do any of that. It's up to the DM to do all of that, and it's imperative that the DM does all of that, or the players are going to be upset and just feel like they're being picked on. So I rate this as highly complex, and I would tone that down tremendously if I was to do a editing pass on this. Tone down the mechanics dramatically. DM and player burden. This places a lot of burden on the DM to make this work, because it says here, dangers are telegraphed. There's no box text anywhere. There's no aid to the DM like, by the way, make sure you mention this so that in 2 rooms from now, that, there's none of that anywhere. I haven't seen any of the pages. There's this Kobold Gods thing. If you bleed on the statue, how are the players to know what effects that had? Other than, like, experiencing it. Like, you bleed on the statue. You feel a faint, warm sensation that fades after a few seconds. That's all you get. That's like, it could have done anything. That could have done anything. What are the parties supposed to think happened? It's up to the DM to bring that out. To be like, remember when you bled on that statue? Well, here you go. This is for you. This is your reward for bleeding. Good job. You're a good adventurer, Does this feel like D&D? It actually does feel like D&D. This feels 100% like D&D. This could be, if you told me this was an adventure they ran in 1985, I'd be like, yeah, this looks exactly like that. There's nothing in here that doesn't stand out as like, D&D would never do that. No, D&D has done basically all of these things, and it's learned from a lot of its lessons of the past. Maybe, okay. Is this balanced? No. Level 1 is incredibly tricky to balance. Incredibly tricky. Like, the best of us have a difficult time making a balanced adventure at level 1, because it's very easy to make something that's like, there's 2 goblins in this room. 2 goblins is like, the party will crush that. They won't even blink. If you put a 3rd goblin in there, suddenly 10% of parties that go into that room TPK. It's just such a wild, like, one more goblin and the party TPK. It's not like a special goblin either. It's just a goblin in the monster manual. I think it's a CR14 creature. 3 goblins, the party should be able to handle. But if you put a 3rd goblin in this room, you will TPK 10% of the parties. Like, it's really hard to do. This is not even close. Not even close. No. It doesn't help that there are only 2 combatants in this entire adventure. Swarm of Spiders, Kobold Trapper. Both of them have combined less than 40 hit points. And all of the other dangers in this adventure are traps. Traps are very hard to manage. This is setting yourself on hard mode as a designer, and then, like, yeah, of course, it's hard mode. Of course it's not balanced. All right. There, I've said my piece on, what is this? Salt and Ash, Kobold Trapper, sure. 5e diseases. Let's take a look. I don't know why I opened the comments. I meant to open the picture. Diseases are kind of complicated because they are very difficult to nail the space between a speed bump. You get a disease, and that disease makes you feel bad until you long rest like 5 times, and then it's fine. Or it's a disease that kills you in 5 days, and you can't do anything about it. Like, there's really not much space between those 2 outcomes. You either make a disease that's like, that's annoying, I guess we wait until it goes away. Or, okay, well, I guess I should roll a new character because there's a 50% chance that I'm just dead. Let's see how this brew attempts to find its footing. Homebrew diseases. Okay, so we got brain rot. Constant and compulsive distraction with trivial stimuli. Metagame. This occurs when a player is habitually distracted during play. What? You should not be giving diseases to characters for player actions. That is just inappropriate straight off the bat. Reading that paragraph makes me immediately doubt that any of these are going to be good. Because if your players are distracted during the game, talk to them. Tell them, hey, I noticed you're distracted during the game. Is there something I could be doing to help you out with that? That's a sign that the players need to either work with the players to figure out what is distracting them, figure out why they're not engaged with your game. Maybe you need to play a different game. Maybe you need to be like, hey, it doesn't seem like you're enjoying the game. Would it be better if we did something else instead? And, have fun with, having fun is more important than playing D&D if people are just losing track of the game, losing track of themselves. Anyway, okay. The creature is disadvantaged on Constitution saving throws made to maintain concentration on spells. In combat, the creature's player has 1 minute to declare their actions. No, absolutely not. This is a turn-based game. Saying this is a turn-based game, but you have it's real time now. No, full stop. Absolutely rude. In combat, in order to take your turn, first you need to beat a round of Tetris. That would be the dumbest mechanic. No, absolutely not. Don't do that. Do not. Okay, if the player misses information due to distraction, other players cannot repeat or explain what was said. This is rude. This is incredibly rude. This is rudeness masquerading as a disease. No. When Brave Rot sets in, the creature makes an intelligence saving throw with a DC of 10 plus the number of times the character player has been distracted during the session. Garbage. This is F tier homebrew. Whoever made this should feel ashamed of themselves. No. Absolutely not. The previous homebrew, I'm mad because it's not balanced. But this is a proper attempt to make something fun at the table. This is just being a dick. Masquerading as game mechanics. No, absolutely not. Let's see if the other ones are any better. Trenchfoot. Occurs when a creature wears armor continuously in wet or humid environments without removing it to dry off and bathe. This most commonly affects the feet, but it can spread across the body beneath armor if neglected. Okay, so this reads to me as a gotcha for the players. Did you take your shoes off when you rested? No? Oh no, hold on, wait a minute. Roll a Constitution. Is it Constitution? It is Constitution. Roll a Constitution saving throw, or you're going to feel bad. Redness, skin rot, and a loss of sensation. By the way, how does this cure? This cure is incredibly silly. Okay, this F tier disease squarely falls in this realm of I got a disease, time to wait until it goes away. Yeah, no. Is this going to fall in the same bucket? Okay. Symptoms: redness, skin rot, and a loss of sensation in the affected areas. The creature's walking speed is reduced by 5 feet. The creature is disadvantaged on Constitution checks and Constitution saving throws. I mean, that's annoying. That's not deadly. So, what's the cure? Once per day after removing armor and thoroughly bathing and drying off, the creature can make a Constitution saving throw. On a success, the disease ends. That's 100%. Falls in the category of, this is annoying. Let's wait a day for it to go away. 100%. At the end of a long rest, a creature that has worn armor continuously in wet or humid conditions must succeed on a Constitution saving throw. For each day they have gone without doffing their armor to bathe and dry off. Okay. That seems like a gotcha, rather than a disease that adds to the game, but at least that's in the fiction. So, whatever. Scurvy is caused by a prolonged lack of fruits and vegetables in a character's diet, particularly when subsisting solely on dry rations. Don't dry rations include vegetables? This disease is common among seafarers, adventurers on long expeditions, and those trapped in dungeons for weeks on end. Okay. Creature experiencing from scurvy experiences fatigue, muscle and joint pain, and poor wound healing. When the creature spends hit dice to regain hit points, it rolls twice and uses the lower result. When the creature finishes a long rest, it regains only half its total hit points instead of all its hit points. At the end of each long rest, if a creature has consumed fruits or vegetables, must see. Do we really want to track fruits and vegetables? That I'm pretty sure, dry rations, All right, whatever. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Think about, does this add to the game? Once per day after consuming fruit or vegetables, the creature can make a constitution saving throw on a success to the disease ends. This seems very much like a speed bump disease as well. Okay. I don't think any of these diseases transcend the problem that, like, the diseases in the book have. So that's fine. That's fine. Can't complain. Thematically, I actually don't like any of these. They kind of make sense, but they also no. They don't. Trenchfoot, I like. I mean, that's kind of a gotcha to be like, did you take your armor off? No? Oh, well, you get Trenchfoot now. Like, is that really what we want the game to be about? And scurvy as well. Thematically, I don't think that's very useful. Is this mechanically complex or deep? Nope. This is just disease. These are just straight diseases. They are not that. They don't elevate the disease at all. The disease mechanics at all. Are they a burden on the player or DM? Not any more than other diseases are. So no, that's fine. Does this feel like D&D? No. Trenchfoot, scurvy and Trenchfoot are not D&D things. This feels like D&D in the sense that you make a Constitution saving throw, or you have disadvantage on Constitution saving throws, and you have to eat vegetables, or you get scurvy. Like, the mechanics are D&D, but this doesn't feel like D&D. And is this stuff balanced? That's not really a valuable question. So we'll move on. Okay. On Miasmic Lily, let's take a look. Let's see what we got here. It's a huge plant. AC 12, it can't move. Interesting. CR 5, 136 hit points. That could be correct. I really should look up the hit point, the defensive and offensive CR. I should have that table handy when I'm doing this stuff. Why don't I have it handy? I don't know. I could go get my book. No. Damage immunities, poison, condition immunities, a lot of them, or not a lot, just 4, but whatever. Since this creature doesn't move, that could be, like, fine. It should probably be immune to prone. Maybe it shouldn't be immune to exhaustion, or deafened, or blinded. Especially if it's blind. Being immune to blinded doesn't make sense. Whatever. I'm just gonna let that go because it's not that big of a deal. While it remains motionless, it is indistinguishable from normal cumulus of vines and flowers. Okay, so we got a camouflage going on. So that's how we lure our prey in range, is we appear harmless. If you get within 30 feet of it, you can potentially identify it as a miasmic lily. It consists of a scattered heap of vines, flowers, and semi-exposed roots laying around the floor or against nearby surfaces. Sure. Until the miasmic lily enters combat, either by using its entrap reaction or being attacked, other creatures can travel through and occupy its space. Okay, we didn't need to say that. The DM can basically figure that out, but sure. It's here, just in case. You can walk through it while it's hiding. You can't discover it by walking through it. The miasmic lily has 3 floral heads. Each of them has 20 hit points, 17 AC, and can move within the space of the miasmic lily. I think opportunity attack if moving out of a creature's range. Any damage dealt to the floral heads is also dealt to the miasmic lily. For each floral head that is destroyed, the recharge of the miasmic lily's noxious pollen action is increased by 1. That's complicated. This creature comes with 3 heads, and those 3 heads are independent. Do they get their own turn, or I assume they take their turn at the same time as the miasmic lily? Oh, actually, I don't think they get a turn because they don't get to make attacks. They just exist. But why would they? I don't like. They should all just whatever. There's 3 heads. We have to track them. They have to exist on top of the The miasmic lily. I guess they're weak points. They're moving weak points. That's what's going on here. It's a little complicated, but all right. And destroying the head reduces this noxious pollen. And the miasmic lily is immobile. We already know that because its speed is 0. I don't think there are any effects in the game that would undo this, but it's fine to just say that there, I guess, if we don't care about the word count. Miasmic lily makes 2 thorny vine attacks and uses its noxious pollen action if able. Okay. Each attack does 2d4 plus 5 piercing damage, and it grapples. If it hits someone that's already grappled, it can just move them into its space. And if it's in its space, it becomes restrained. Potentially. Noxious pollen is a 15-foot cone. Hold on one second. I have to sneeze. The miasmic lily exudes a cloud of noxious dust and a 15-foot cone in front of its floral heads. Creatures within that area have to make a save throw, or they take a bunch of poison damage and they're poisoned. That's fair. That's totally fair. A creature that fails a saving throw by 5 or more is incapacitated. I'm not mad at that. I would like to see some flavor as to why they're incapacitated, but I'm not mad. That's totally fine. Reactions. As a reaction to a creature can detect stepping on its space, the miasmic lily makes 1 thorn. Okay, so while it's hidden, walking into its space, it can take attacks of opportunity on you if you step on it. Yeah, that's fine. Not bad. I'm happy. The only thing that I would really dock is this floral heads thing, and the only reason I would dock it, I'll get into that in just a second, but the only reason I would dock it is because this does not look like a boss creature. It does not look like a solo encounter. This looks like a creature that would be part of an encounter. And if you were to have 4 of these, well, now you've got 12 heads to manage. And as a DM, that's more headache than maybe is warranted. But that's my only dock. Other than that, I'm perfectly happy with this. Thematically, this comes together. It makes sense. It's a lily. It's a plant that is it's got sharp vines that it wants to try and like crush you with. It wants to pull you in and crush you with. I like that. That comes together. It also has a cone attack. It might be actually, since it's doing all of these attacks, 2d4 plus 5 twice, and then this 66. That might be above what a CR5 is capable of doing. I could be wrong, since it's also grappling and potentially restraining. I should just say that for every month. This could be right. This could be wrong. Yeah, I'm great. I'm the best reviewer ever. Thematically, this comes together. Mechanical complexity wise, this is my big bugbear. That's a lot of heads you're gonna have to manage if you have multiple of these creatures. And likewise, the DM burden, I think is going to rest largely here. Otherwise, the rest of this stuff I could run pretty easily, I think. The cone, 15-foot cone, that's pretty easy to manage. This creature can't move, so, bonus there. I don't have to think about positioning. Yeah. Does this feel like D&D? Yeah, it feels exactly like D&D. There's other plant monsters that behave exactly the same way, like assassin vines. They don't have a poison breath. They don't have floral heads. Are they in the? Can we? I doubt they're in the monster. I doubt they're in the basic rules. But I just want to check. Assassin vines are vines that attack you. Bum, 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 bum. Nope, there's assassin, but not assassin vines. That's fine. This is D&D, through and through, 100%. Is this balanced? It could be. I'm going to say if it doesn't set off any alarm bells, it's balanced. And I'm going to preface that with but I haven't looked it up. So if I look it up and it's actually doing 10 too much damage or it doesn't have enough hit points. Full disclaimer, I haven't looked this up. I'm just going off my memory. It looks balanced. So pretty good. Pretty good. I like that. The Straggler. We start with art. Here's the stats. And then we get the credits. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's some lovely art. This is a large monstrosity. CR5, it has less hit points than I'd expect it to have. Speed 40. It has a blind sight at 30 feet. It understands common but can only mimic speech. Okay, so we're in Kenku territory. That's fine. Really high athletics. How is this athletics so high? I guess it gets expertise on that for some reason. And really high stealth. Kind of mean to do that. The Straggler has advantage on wisdom checks to track creatures. Sure. Straggler has advantage on attack rolls against creatures that haven't taken a turn in combat yet. Okay. I mean, that's a feature that other monsters have, so why not this one? If the Straggler has a creature grappled or starts a turn within 30 hit points or less, it gains a 10-foot bonus to its walking and climbing speed and does not provoke opportunity attacks when moving in or out of an enemy's reach. I don't like that, but we'll keep going. The Straggler can mimic words and sounds uttered in its vicinity and remembers them for up to 30 days. Whatever. Kenku. The Straggler suffers no penalties to its movement while carrying a grappled creature that is medium or smaller. Is this large? It is large, so it would have that anyway. But sure. Is that true? Did I hallucinate that rule? I thought if you're grappling something smaller than you, your movement isn't hindered. Maybe it's if you're grappling something that's 2 sizes smaller than you. At which point this is saying, okay, but if this is 1 size smaller, we're still good. The Straggler's jump distance is doubled. It can perform a high jump of up to 15 feet without a running start. I don't know the jump rules that well, so I'm just going to assume that that's good. And then say, this creature doesn't teach me the jump rules, so I'm mad at it. Because it's going to make me look those up to run this creature. The Straggler makes 3 attacks. 1 with its claws, 1 with its pincers, and 1 with its bite. +7 to hit. Okay. That's a lot of damage. If it's doing all 3 of these, that's a lot of damage in 1 turn. But maybe it's fine. 1 target. I mean, CR5s can do quite a bit of damage, so maybe that's fine. Yeah, that's probably fine. That's probably fine. The target is grappled. The Straggler can only have 1 creature grappled in this way, and then there's a bite, and the bite just does less damage. It does the same damage as the claws, but it's a different die. Okay, that's pointless. Just don't do that. Don't make 2 attacks that are mathematically equivalent, but they're different, but they're equivalent. That's just giving the DM choice, but it's false choice. The Straggler uses 4 limbs to incapacitate a creature is currently grappling. The target must succeed on a DC 15 strength saving throw or be incapacitated until the grapple ends. While incapacitating a creature in this manner, the Straggler cannot use its pincers or claws. An incapacitated target can attempt a DC 18th strength. Okay, it can't though because it's incapacitated. But we're going to assume that this... Yeah, okay, we're going to assume that that's fine. Can attempt a strength athletics check at the end of each turn, ending the effect on itself on a success but remaining grappled by the Straggler. This feels unnecessarily complicated. This feels unnecessarily complicated, is what I'll say. I'm not a big fan of the idea of, here's a creature, its goal is to steal a PC. And here are 10 features that make it better at stealing a PC. And we're not going to ask the question, is this fun? We're not going to ask the question, is the DM going to enjoy using this creature? We're not going to ask those questions. We're going to give this creature as much gusto as possible with the specific goal of capturing a PC and running away. It gets to move faster if it's got a creature grappled. It just gets to move faster, and it ignores opportunity. There's a whole game mechanic about opportunity attacks. We're just going to ignore that for this creature because they're inconvenient. We don't want that. We don't provoke opportunity attacks anymore. We're beyond that. We can We get advantage on attack rolls against creatures that haven't taken a turn yet, so we're an ambusher. We get free grapples, which is a normal thing in 2024. I think it's a normal thing in 2014 as well, so never mind. But then we can just incapacitate as an action. We just get to do that. If you wanted to do that, you could have just like stuck restrained on here, get rid of these two things, and then just rolled that way, you know? The straggler can restrain. But no, we don't want to do that because a PC that's restrained can still fight back, and fighting back is not stealing the PC. So no, it has to be incapacitate. Is that why this is the way it is? I suspect that this is not going to be something that the players find a lot of fun. That's just something I expect. Thematically, yeah, this theme thematically comes together. This is a thing that steals PCs. The PC stealer. It's even called this. What is it called? The straggler? Sorry, I thought it was called the snatcher, and I was like, yeah, it's a snatcher. No, it's a straggler. I don't know why it's called a straggler. It doesn't straggle. It's mechanically complex. There's some mechanical complexity to it. There are a lot of features for a creature that has a very simple goal. It has, let's just count them. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has 6 features. We can scratch off Bounding Leap. It also has expertise on athletics and stealth for some reason. It also has it has 2 attacks, 2 different attacks that do the same thing, bite and claws. It has this incapacitate. That's complex. This is complex. There's some burden here for the DM to manage. There's also some burden for the players because the players naturally want to stop this thing from stealing their party member, and they need to realize, they need to learn, understand, figure out what exceptions this thing has to the rules. Like, it's going to ignore opportunity attacks. It's just going to do that. You can't. It's going to incapacitate whoever it's holding. It's going to do that, you know? So there's some player burden I would put there as well, just in terms of fighting this thing. Does this feel like D&D? No. It actually doesn't. It doesn't feel like D&D. Inflicting the incapacitate condition. There are creatures that they, like cloakers, their whole goal is to grab a player. There's cloakers, they land on the player and then they choke them. There's also ropers, I think. Are ropers in the... Let's see. Because ropers' whole thing is they grab you. Yeah, they tentacle you. They grab you and then they start gnawing on you. They don't run away, and they don't incapacitate the person they're gnawing on. Yeah, this gives the target the grappled condition and the poison condition. That's as far as you get in D&D wise before you start straying outside of D. Before you just start being mean. This does not feel like D&D. It doesn't feel like 5th edition. The general idea of a creature that kidnaps you, that is D&D, but not in this way, not in this manner, not this way. That's not D&D. And is it balanced? I feel like the players are going to be frustrated. I feel like there's going to be some frustration from the player side dealing with this thing, especially if there's 4 of them, especially if there's more than one. Yeah. All right. Cool. I really shouldn't be zooming in on this. Oh. Can I get back? I would like to review Homebrew, please. Why is my browser not responding? Philosopher. We've already seen the Philosopher. We've seen these diseases. The Miasmaguli. Yep, we've seen that. The Power Warden. Yep. Demonettes. Inspired by Warhammer. All right. Not like that, though. All right, so what is this? Is this a creature? Is this a species that the players can be? This is a class. Habitat. Okay, these are creatures. Planar, treasure, implements. The unsettling, alluring demons known as demonettes are the most numerous demons of pleasure. These creatures vary in appearance, but their most common features... Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Demonettes are sin given physical form. Okay. A demonette glides towards... Okay. Okay, I'm... How do I run this thing? Here we go. This is what I was looking for. Okay, thematically, these are demons. We know what demons are. We don't need... Like, these are demons that, like, they have horns and they shoot lasers out of their eyes. Like, I get it. They're fiends. They're party. Chaotic evil. Okay, this is CR3, 58 hit points. That seems fine. High AC. They have a lot of skills. A lot of resistances. Immune to poison. Okay. I think fiends are normally resistant to, or immune to fire as well, but these are demonettes, not fiends. Any non-demon of excess that starts his turn within 10 feet of one or more creatures within this aura must make a wisdom saving throw DC 14 plus 1 for each additional creature with using the highest DC of these creatures if multiple... What? On a failure, the creature is obsessed with all creatures with this aura until the start of its next turn. While obsessed, attacks against the creature have advantage. Creatures immune to the aura of indulgence of all creatures for 10 minutes. Okay. New condition described on the next page. Let's see it. Oh, I should actually zoom in. Sorry. The creature becomes fixated on a creature or object, which becomes the source of its fixation. While the creature can see a source of its obsession, it can't attack any creature or object with an attack ability or spell except for a source of its obsession. So it's just taunt. This is taunt. This is taunt. It's okay. We can just say it's taunt. And then actions, it gets a claw. It only gets one claw, but that does a lot of damage. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's simple. This is not simple. But the rest of this creature is fine. It's simple. We have the CR5 version of it. It has more hit points. Its DC is 1 higher. And its claw is bigger. It does psychic damage as well. Plus, if the target has one of these conditions. Oh, there are even more conditions. Okay, I don't know how I feel about that. Let's, that's not the... Sneeze. I was told there's a new condition here. Rampaging. On each of its attack turns, the creature must take the attack action against the nearest hostile creature it can see within range. After attacking, it can't move for the rest of its turn. If no targets are within range, it must move towards the nearest hostile creature it is aware of by the safest route. If it's still not within range after moving, it must take the... Okay, so this is a condition that says you don't get to take your turns anymore. The DM takes your turns. The creature can't cast spells or maintain concentration. Okay, any charmed, frightened, or obsessed effects on the creature are suspended. Okay. That's fine. Where's dazed and drowsy? Oh wow, there's a lot. There's a lot of well, the new spells. Where's dazed and drowsy? Hold on. Oh, these are material from other sources. Okay, well, I'm immediately sad now. I don't get to review this because I don't know where those are. Let's look at this one and then let's stop. Actually, I want to look at the spells because I like looking at spells. This is the CR7 version. It has more hit points. Its AC is slightly higher. It has immunity to exhaustion for some reason. Sure. Its aura of indulgence is the same, but it also has when a creature can see becomes obsessed with it, it can cause it to rampage. While it's rampaging, attacks against the creature have advantage. Oh, and then it gets its claw, but it loses its other thing. Oh no, it still there wasn't another thing. Sorry, I'm hallucinating. I mean, that's fine. This is complicated. This is probably unnecessarily complicated. Adding a new condition, fine, whatever. A little rich to add a new condition just for your creature, but not going to complain. The fact that the DC is variable, complicated. Not a fan of that. Is it necessarily complicated? Probably not. It probably does not need to be like that. It could probably just be DC 15. On a failure, the creature is obsessed. On a success, it's immune to the thing for 10 minutes. That would have been a lot simpler. Thematically, this makes sense. This is honestly kind of plain for what it is, but it makes sense. I can't fault it for what it is. Mechanical complexity, I've already spoken about that. Other than this, totally fine. I'm totally fine with attacks that are like, this does X damage, but if you have a specific condition, it also does Y damage. That's not complicated. That's totally fine. That has some combo potential that we need to think about CR-wise. That will definitely affect the offensive CR of the creature. I'm going to assume, probably unfairly, I'm going to assume that this is balanced. And if I'm wrong, I didn't look it up. I'm just going off. I'm just trusting that this looks balanced. I don't know if it is balanced. It probably isn't with this in effect, because doing 68 plus 60, 10 damage per attack is a lot, even though it's only one attack. That's still a lot. For CR7, I don't know. Is this a lot of burden on the player or DM? Probably not. You do have to manage this condition, but it's fine. And does this feel like D&D? Yeah. I could see. I think there are fiends that do something similar to this. Not this specifically, but similar. And balance, I don't know. I'm going to assume it's balanced. I'm going to be generous. I'm not going to look at this. I'm not going to look at this. Demonette Tactics. Demonette Loot. I mean, it's cool that you included that, but I want to look at these spells. We've got the 5th level enchantment. 90-foot range. You unleash a torrent of overwhelming emotion, blending agony and euphoria into a maddening storm. Each creature in a 20-foot radius sphere makes a wisdom saving throw. On a failed, they're rampaging. I don't know if that's 5th level worthy. There's a spell called Crown of Madness, which does this. It's 2nd level, and it sucks. It only affects one creature, but I don't know if making it an AoE is... I don't know if that makes it worth it. Using a high-level spell slot, the sphere's radius increases by 5 feet for each slot level above 5th. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Keep your radiuses fixed. Especially when you're already a 5th level spell. Jumping up to 6th level for a 25-foot radius? No. No. You're breaking the rules and you're not getting much value out of it. Phantasmagoria, 5th level illusion, Bard and Warlock. So we've excluded the Wizard and the Sorcerer, but we've included the Warlock. Okay, we get a 15-foot radius centered on a point you can see within range. The illusions whisper dark promises. When you cast a spell, you can designate any number of creatures to be unaffected by it. All right. Affected creatures have disadvantage on charisma, intelligence, and wisdom saving throws. Oh, and there's no saving throw attached to this? Oh, no. No. Oh, you cast this and creatures have disadvantage. First of all, that is not 5th level worthy. The sorcerer gets a feature that does this. It's just a feature. Like, they can do this with any spell. It's a heightened spell. Gives disadvantage on the saving throws. Like, and that's not amazing. Making it a 5th level spell, that's concentration. Oh boy, this is the kind of thing that if the player casts it, they're gonna feel bad. But if you have like 40 monsters, one of them can cast this on the party, make the party feel bad, and then the other 39 monsters, they can do all the jank they want, and the party will hate it. And then maybe from that perspective, this is 5th level. But from the perspective of the party casting this spell, I do not see it. I do not see it. It's not a saving throw either, which is wrong. Like that breaks D&D. But it's not like balance wise. Like this actually feels kind of bleh. Slashing shards. I'll review all of these in just a second, but let me get through them. Slashing shards, 4th level conjuration. You conjure a cloud of razor sharp glass and launch it at a creature within range. On a hit, the target takes 66 slashing damage and must make a wisdom saving throw. They take okay, making the target roll 2 things for one spell is already kind of they could potentially take 12d6 damage. If I'm not mistaken, a 4th level spell should be doing 8d8 damage. So 12d6. 12d6 versus 8d8. I think that's too much damage. Yeah, I think that's too much damage. You don't get to use the excuse of, well, okay, but you have to make an attack roll and a saving throw. You don't get to use that excuse when you're doing damage. You can't be like, all right, but if the target... Okay, so it's Fireball. It does 40d6 damage, but the target gets 5 saving throws. And each saving throw they make, you reduce the damage by 8d6. You don't get to do that. Like, that's not balanced at all. You're doing too much damage with this spell. Power Word Pain. Revised. So what does Power Word Pain do in the base game? Because I do not remember. Since we're revising it, let's do a comparison. Oh, that's the wrong button. Nope. Go back. Power Word Pain. Is that not a spell? Maybe it's not a spell. So we're revising this spell, but I don't know what the original is. You speak a word of power that racks a creature. If it has 100 hit points, or the target must make a Constitution saving throw. That's immediately a red flag. Power words don't have saving throws. Do they? Is there a power word with a saving throw? Yeah. Oh, it makes a saving throw at the end of its turn. Okay, so the initial effect should not have a saving throw. Oh, I see. Okay, it's a saving throw if it has more than 100 hit points. Whatever. I don't like that, but I guess that can come in. A creature suffering from crippling pain is affected. Its speed cannot exceed 15 feet. It says disadvantage on all d20 tests not caused by this spell. Each time it takes a move action or bonus action or reaction, it takes 48 necrotic damage or 68 necrotic damage if the action is used to cast a spell 3rd level. Okay. This damage cannot reduce the target's hit points below 1. I don't know. A creature suffering from mild pain takes 2d8 necrotic damage whenever it takes a move, action, or bonus action or reaction. This damage cannot reduce the target's... Okay, so first of all, each time it takes a move is very dangerous because there's no such thing as a move. Standing up from prone, is that a move? If I move 5 feet and then move 5 feet, did I take 1 move or 2 moves? If I move 5 feet and then I move back, did I take a move or did I do nothing? If I fall off a cliff, is that a move? If I'm at the edge of a cliff and I leap off, is that a move? You know? What is a move? That's not defined in the game. It's defined in past editions because in past editions you took what's called a move action to move. Not so in D&D. Not so. Or 5th edition, I should say. Not so in 5th edition. Okay, at the end of each of its turns, a creature suffering from either type of pain can make a Constitution saving throw. On a success, the effect ends. Okay, that's fine. But let's take a look at all these spells. Thematically, they all work. They're all good. I like the theme of all of them. And there's a little blurb at the beginning of each spell to kind of sell you on the idea of what the spell is doing, and I love that. It's not too much. It's the right amount of flavor. It's just one sentence. It's just one sentence to explain what the spell is doing, and then we move on to the meat. And that's exactly what I need as a DM to nail the flavor. You conjure haunting illusions, and then Okay, well, actually, this one has 2 sentences, but the other one's only 1 sentence. You speak a word of power that racks a creature you can see within range with excruciating pain. Perfect. Thematically, everything's on point. Mechanical complexity, most of these spells are fine. This one's fine. This one is fine. It's not good to ask a player to roll an attack roll and then roll a saving throw. Ray of Sickness used to do that, and they stopped that because it's not unnecessary. It slows the game down. And is it really adding anything? The less rolls you ask of the player, the faster their turn is. So I think there's some reining in of complexity that could be done for this one. This one's fine. This one's fine. This one's like too fine. You cast a spell on some targets and they have disadvantage on saving throws. That's the whole spell. Like that's totally not complex. This one is kind of complex, but it's a power word, so it's allowed to have some complexity. That's totally fine. I wouldn't say there's a lot of burden on anyone for any of these spells. Do they feel like D&D? This one for sure, because there's already a spell that does this, but it's only a single target. This one, I would say that feels like D&D, probably. This one, yeah, I'd give that. I give that D&D. That gives it D&D. This one, I don't know, because power words are a very specific thing. This is a power word that lets you make a save. It affects creatures with more hit points. Usually the power words don't have saving throws on their base effects. It's either target dies or it takes damage. There's no target dies or it gets to make a saving throw. No. Power words don't get saving throws. That's an exception. Most spells give a saving throw. Most spells should give a saving throw. This spell right here should give a saving throw. This one should not. It can give a saving throw at the end of the turn, but that feels the least D&D. Other than that, that's totally, dude. This is power word pain. If you told me this was power word pain, I'd be like, yeah, that's power word pain. That's in the game. That's a spell in the game. Balance wise, no. This is too weak. I'm pretty sure. This is too weak. I'm pretty sure. This is too strong. You cannot cheat damage out by adding a saving throw and an attack roll. That is not permitted. You can cheat damage out if you make it do nothing on a miss, but this one doesn't do nothing on a miss. So sure. This is probably fine. This might be weak, but only because the effect is weak. Crown of Madness is also weak. And this seems strong. This powered. It's a 7th level spell, but it still seems strong. Anytime you take an action, you're going to take a lot of damage. That's a lot. But it's a 7th level spell, so at the same time, I could just be like, I could cast Disintegrate on someone and do way more damage than this will ever do. So it's kind of hard to judge. Is this balanced? I don't think it is, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I'd give these all a thumbs up though. If a player came to me and said, "Hey, can I use these spells?" I'd be like, "Let's change them a little," and then yes, absolutely. Let's simplify them a little. Let's give them a little more. But I like where these are going. I like where they're going. Absolution, Angelic General of the Heavenly Armies. This is a monster? It's a monster. It's CR 16. Let's take a look. Its speed is 0, but its fly is 80 feet. Okay, it's fine. It has resistance. Why is this so blurry? It's just blurry. That's just blurry. It's just how it is. Can we not view it like that? All right. That'll have to do. Huge Celestial, AC 18, 225 hit points. For CR 16, that's gonna be fine. It's immune to Charmed, Frightened, and Prone. Okay, it doesn't have a speed, so making it immune to Prone is fine. Damage resistance to fire, radiant, bludgeoning, piercing, slashing from non-magical attacks. It has True Sight, 220 feet. It has every language. It has an angelic aura, so any aberration, fiend, or undead within 30 feet of absolution that is not on the same alignment suffers disadvantage on saving throws from spells or other magical effects. Most of the party is not going to be aberrations, fiends, or undead. So, I don't know. Absolution's weapon attacks are magical. Is this meant to be like a boss? Oh, there it is. Legendary resistance. Okay. Usually you put that at the top. Absolution's weapon attacks are magical. When it hits with any weapon, the weapon deals an extra damage, which is included in the attack. Absolution knows if it hears a lie. Gears and machinery debris orbit Absolution, providing a protective aura. All creatures within 30 feet gain a +2 bonus to their AC. That's very complicated, but this is a boss, so that's fine. Magic resistance is magic resistance. We're a spellcaster. We can cast Sunbeam and Flame Strike and Banishment. And Spirit Guardians. And Spiritual Weapon. And Guiding Bolt. Gear Slam. Oh, did we jump into the attacks? Oh, we did. Okay, it makes 2 melee attacks. And here they are. +9 to hit, reach 10 feet. It does a lot of damage per hit, and it's going to do this twice. So it's going to do 10d8 plus 68. 16d8 per turn. Good. Sure. For CR 16, yeah, that's actually kind of low for a boss. Absolution releases a burst of radiant energy in a 30-foot radius. Each creature in that area must make a DC 20 con save. Okay. That's fine. What else is it doing? Okay. That's all it's doing unless you're an aberration, fiend, or undead. Aberration suffers fairy fire. A fiend takes extra damage. And it catches on fire, so it might take even more damage. Undead gets turned. Okay. Against the party, that's not going to do... That's actually kind of boring. I guess it's like a breath weapon. Breath weapons don't do anything special, so... Sure. Oh, this is a 30-foot radius centered on self. Okay, I thought it was a beam for some reason. I was thinking sunbeam for some reason. Sure. Absolution can take 3 legendary actions. It can do a melee attack. There's the damage. Okay, there's the damage. Bolstering words. Absolution lets out a war cry, empowering nearby allies. Each allied creature within 30 feet of Absolution makes all attacks until... But that's not how you spell until. The end of the next turn at advantage. Additionally, all attacks deal an additional 3 1d6 radiant damage. Invoke Judgment. Once per day, Absolution targets 1 aberration, fiend, or undead they can see and forces them to make a DC 20 wisdom save. On a failed, the target feels the literal weight of their sins, and they become restrained. They're also stunned, and can only repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns. Okay. Well, that's brutal, but if you consider the fact that the party is generally humanoid, not aberration, fiend, or undead, there's actually not a lot going on here. Honestly, this is just a basic bot. Like, this is just this feels like we took a dragon, we turned it into an angel, and we said, there it is. We've got this angelic aura. It doesn't do anything. Angelic weapons. That's just we can just write that in there. We didn't need that. We didn't need to have it here. Divine awareness. That's cool. That's flavorful. I like that. Legendary resistance. Absolutely. Machinery orbits. So this buffs up the minions. Magic resistance. Sure. Spell casting. I don't know what this is adding. You're probably not going to be casting any of these spells when you've got Heavenly Radiance ready to go. That's going to output more than all of these. Maybe you'll cast Spiritual Weapon though. It would be nice to, as a DM, it'd be nice if this highlights what you expect me to do with this spell list. I'm probably going to cast Spiritual Weapon because it's a bonus action. Everything else here is an action. And I'd rather be spending my actions shooting giant laser beams. Multi-attack. Everything else here, if you write off the parts that only affect aberration, fiends, or undead, very simple. It works. It's fine. Thematically, this works. It's a big honking angel, and it punches. It punches hard, and it does radiant damage. You know, that's what you expect. I don't know why its speed is 0. Is there an image? I don't understand why its speed is 0. What did I do? Yeah, I don't understand why its speed is 0, but that's okay. Mechanical complexity. If you have aberrations, fiends, and undead in the fight, this is very complex. This is probably needlessly complex. But if you don't, this is the biggest source of complexity right here, the spell casting. I would maybe separate this out to like, here are the spells this is what you should be doing in combat. Here are the cool things you can do out of combat. If the party decides to like talk to this creature instead of beat up on it. This machinery orbits is also a little bit of extra complexity, but it's manageable. That's manageable. The DM burden is manageable for a legendary creature. This is manageable. And then the player burden there's no player burden. You don't have to worry about this creature at all. It's not doing anything weird. It's a legendary creature. You expect it to do legendary actions where it gets to hit people. Its punches do a lot of damage. Yeah. On point. Does it feel like D&D? Yeah, this feels like D&D. This feels like a dragon that's been reskinned, which is good. You know, dragons are good. It's in the title. Dungeons and etc. Is this balanced? It looks balanced. It looks balanced. The hit points might be a little low for CR16, now that I think about it. But otherwise, yeah, balanced. Balanced. I give that a thumbs up. Ivelda's Orb. It's rare. Let's look at it. Cool. But we need to turn the page first. Made by Obvious Mimic. Should I be worried? This orb acts as an arcane focus, druidic focus, or holy symbol. Spells cast using it have a +1 to their attack rolls and spell save DCs. Once per day, you may cast one of your level 1 spells without using a spell slot. This requires attunement. That's it. I'm pretty sure this already exists. Okay, that's very basic. I mean, yeah. Thematically, yeah, it's an orb. It's named after it's Ivelda's orb. Who is Ivelda? Why? Okay, so it's rare, so there's going to be more than there's like probably dozens of these. They are an arcane focus, druidic focus, or holy symbol. No, I don't. I mean, the theme is very basic, but can't complain. Complexity, not complex. This is very, very, very standard. This is very basic, basic item, which I guess there's no reason to complain. Does it feel like D&D? Yeah, it feels like a D&D. It's even named after Ivelda. That's a D&D thing to do. 100%. And is it balanced? I'd have to. I bet it's actually not. Sure, it's fine. Don't think about it too hard. I was gonna say, like, I wonder if +1 to spell attack rolls and spell DCs is uncommon for rarity, and then getting one spell without using a spell slot at level 1, or getting one level 1 spell without using a spell slot. Level 1 spells aren't that valuable. I think each of those effects individually is uncommon. Maybe combining them makes it rare. Sure. Oh. Can't complain. Harbinger of Madness. I did not make the Harbinger. Okay. Don't post other people's homebrews. I'll look at it though. GM binder. Here we go. It's loading. Brace yourself. This is going to be amazing. Well, let's read this. Okay. Oh, is this a class? This is a subclass? It's not loading, so that's probably my fault. Let me open this up in a different browser and see if that has the same effect. Oh yeah, it definitely. It opened up instantly. But this is a class. Come on. All right, let's stop. Refresh. I need to troubleshoot my browser, which is a lovely place to be. Stupid Edge. Let's just move on. D&D Homebrew World Deity Pantheon. Is this just art? I can't critique art. I don't have that talent. It looks cool. It looks good. D&D Cross Monster Hunter Fusion Genie Malenzo Thanatophobia Djinn. Oh, that's not. There we go. Okay. Okay, we have here a medium aberration. What's a CR? CR 9. Okay. That's very low hit points for CR 9. AC 15, initiative 0, perception, whatever. It has a trait. That trait is the Dark Exchange. When the Djinn damages a creature with its Leeching Claw attack for the first time on a turn, roll a d4. Target gains a boon, which lasts until the end of the target's next turn. Creature that already has a boon from a Thanatophobia Djinn's Dark Exchange trait can't get another. Target has advantage on its next... What? When the Djinn damages a creature with its Leeching Claw attack, roll a d4. The target gains... What? You're attacking a creature and then you're giving it a boon? What is this Djinn doing? Target has advantage on its next attack roll, ability check or saving throw. It gets temporary hit points, its speed increases, or it gets a +1 to its damage rolls. Djinn's weapons are magical, and the Djinn uses its charisma for its attack rolls. Makes 2 Leeching Claw attacks. Okay. What? Why is it giving a boon to the people it's attacking? Djinn regains hit points equal to necrotic damage taken. Okay, so this is doing 1d4 plus 2d8, and it's doing that twice. So 2d4 plus 48, and then it's getting health back. That's not a good design. That's like really, really cheap regeneration. Not cheap in a good way. Cheap like in a budget way. Like we have regeneration at home. Here it is. No. The Djinn separates a portion of its own essence into a cloud of bat-like energy. The Djinn takes force damage and creates a swarm of vitality bats for each point of damage taken. Oh, okay. So it makes a ton of bats. So this is kind of it's packing. Each swarm can move and use its reaction on its own, but the only action it can take is dodge, unless the Djinn takes a bonus action to command them. Okay. Djinn commands all the swarms of vitality bats summoned by its essence dispersal action to take an action. And then as a reaction, when the Djinn takes damage from a melee weapon attack, it can disappear into a cloud of ruby smoke, gaining resistance and teleporting 30 feet. Okay, we have the swarm here. The swarm is resistant to weapon damage, immune to necrotic damage. It has 2 hit points. And when it's created, it gains 10 temporary hit points. Okay. It's a swarm, and it dies if its master dies. Sure, that's fine. It does 1d4 plus 2 piercing damage, and it's attached to a target when it attacks. While attached, the swarm moves with the target. Can't be removed. And it has advantage on attack rolls against 2 creatures it's attached to. And then it can do necrotic damage if it stays attached, and it can transfer those as temporary hit points. Okay. That seems like that's fair, but it could get out of hand very quickly. And out of hand as in like the DM can get a headache very quickly from all of this. Is there another page? Nope, that's the last page. Thematically, this is fine. I don't actually understand why it's giving a boon out. I'm assuming that has to do with Monster Hunter. Or I'm misreading this, and I cannot read it. I just don't understand. Leeching Claw. This is thematically fine. Like, Jin can have life drain. That's totally fine. Making bats and the bats steal life for the Jin. That's fine as well. This is all fine. I don't see anything here that's thematically inappropriate. I just don't understand this giving gifts out to people you attack. Mechanical complexity. I think this is actually, this is fine. This here, being able to summon bats, the number of bats you summon dramatically affects how complex this fight is. Not how difficult, but how complex. If you summon 3 bats, okay, that's you got to put three down on the board. If you summon 6 bats, you put 6 down on the board. You have to keep track of each bat, what it's attached to, who it's attacking. I don't know. I feel like that can get out of hand very quickly. I don't understand why the swarm can only dodge unless the Jin does a bonus action to let them do anything, because there's no reason not to do this. There's no advantage to not commanding the swarm, and they're acting in such a way that the Jin always goes before the swarm. So, like, what? Why is their word count dedicated to this line here? You could just get rid of that. You could just say the bats can take a turn. They each get a turn. They each get their own turn. I don't particularly get why that's the way it is instead of it being a lot simpler. Yeah. This is very reminiscent of another creature in D&D called the Sturge. Has this loaded? It has. So we'll review that in a second. Let me go to the Sturge. Sturge. Stirge. Sturge. It's a big mosquito. It has a proboscis. It attaches to you. This is actually worded much more simply, but it's the same idea. Same idea here. And this is, as is, it's fine. I would actually suggest copying the Sturge here, doing that instead of this. Make the turn simpler, a little less burden for the DM. But as is, that's okay. DM burden. It's all in the swarm. And maybe in managing these gifts as well. But all in the swarm. Does this feel like D&D? Yeah. Yeah, this feels like D&D. I give this a D. The D&D thumbs up. And is this balanced? I bet it's not, because this HP is too low. The troll suffers the exact same problem. But I think the troll has... Okay, I want to look up the troll. Let me just... I think the troll has 90 hit points. It has 94 hit points, but it's CR 5, and it has regeneration, and its regeneration is probably better than this thing. So I do not believe that this thing is tough enough for CR 9. I don't think it's balanced. Other than that, though, I don't have a complaint. The damage might be low, actually. Hold on, let's look at the troll's damage. Troll is doing 2d6 plus 4. And it's making 3 rend attacks, so it's doing 66 plus 12 damage, potentially, every turn. And it's CR 5, so we should be doing, like, double that. And we're not. We're not even close. We're not even close. But we are healing the damage that we're doing. So I would say that the damage potential should... Well, actually, since we're summoning these bats, that makes it really complicated. I bet it needs to be buffed. I bet this creature needs to be buffed. I don't know by how much, though, because it's complicated. But compare this to a troll. And troll is CR 5, and this is CR 9. And The troll is outcompeting the djinn, and that's absurd. And the troll is not good. The troll is not a good creature. All right. Let's take a look at this Harbinger. I hate reviewing classes. I hate reviewing classes because it's a lot of work to make a class. A lot of work. And there's a very good chance that this class has some corners cut. And I'm just so jaded. I'm just so jaded. All right, we got the Harbinger. A woman rushes. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, the Harbingers are the scions of the inevitable forces in the universe. Their masters are initially not fully cognizant of the Harbinger's presence. Often a Harbinger is created when an individual survives an event that by all means would be impossible. Didn't we... Last time there was a barbarian that had this exact same story. They were supposed to die, but they didn't. Okay, we've got the Harbinger here. Rules conversion. When converting this class for the 2024 rules, remove the fighting style. No, okay, whatever. We'll assume this is a 2014. Multiclassing requires strength and constitution. Why constitution? That's scary. But okay. We've got fighter hit dice. We have no armor proficiency at all, but we have all melee weapon proficiencies. That's very strange. That says to me that the designer has a very specific vision in mind for who's playing this. And if you want to play a character outside that vision, get out. Strength and wisdom saving throws. Okay. Choose athletics, religion, history, nature, insight, into okay. Oh, we've got the unarmored defense and a fighting style. Of course we've got unarmored defense because we don't have armor, but your AC equals 10 plus your strength modifier plus your constitution modifier. All right. That says to me that we're intruding on barbarian territory. Straight up. What if barbarian, but strength instead of con? Or sorry, strength instead of dex. Okay. Could have just given that to the barbarian. And then you have a fully functional barbarian, you know? Fighting style, you get a fighting style. Yep, these are the fighting styles, I assume. You only get a choice of 5 fighting styles? Oh, because this is a melee-only class, of course. Sort of like the barbarian, just saying. I know the barbarian can throw weapons, but no one's making a javelin barbarian, you know? No one's doing that. Okay. Level 1, we get unarmored defense, fighting style. We don't get rage? I'm sorry? We don't get anything. We just get unarmored defense, and we get a fighting style. So we're a very sad fighter. You learn one maneuver of your choice from among those available to the battle master. That's just not great. It's not great. Army breaker. Okay. Level 1, not very exciting. Let's see level 2 does. You start to be able to easily manipulate multiple enemies at once. Oh, easily face multiple enemies at once. Why did I say manipulate? No amount of minions can stop you from executing your master's will. When a melee attack you make hits, you may target another creature within reach, and if the original attack roll can hit it, apply damage. Okay, so we get cleave. We just get cleave. Okay, that's very boring, because, you know, in 2024, like, you just get that if you have a weapon that has cleave. You just get that for free. I don't know why I'm... This can only be performed once per turn and only during your turn. I think cleave is actually once per attack. So cleave is better than that. Just looking it up just to keep myself honest. Cleave. If you hit a creature with a melee attack using this roll, you can make a melee attack roll with the weapon against a second creature within 5 feet of the first. On a hit, the second creature takes the weapon's damage, but don't add your ability modifier. Okay, so cleave is better, but it is different. So this is within reach. Cleave is within 5 feet. Cleave requires a second attack roll. This does not. But this only does the damage of the weapon type equal to your strength modifier, whereas this is doing the damage of the weapon, which is probably going to be higher. In any case, this is your class feature. This is your second. You get this. This is your second level. For comparison, fighter gets second wind. That's all right. And then they get action surge, which is nuts. So I'm already scared for this class. We've got Master's Eminence. 3rd level, your ability has unlocked a deeper connection to the source of your power. You get a subclass. Okay, you get a subclass. Ability score improvement. You get 5th attack, extra attack at 5th level. Master, okay. Improved Army Breaker. At 7th level, when you damage a target with Army Breaker, the damage you deal is as if you made another attack with the same weapon instead of just your strength modifier. Okay, so now we're getting better than cleave, but that's at 7th level. All right, subclass Harbinger Destruction. As a bonus action, you may invoke your master to cause destruction centered around yourself. You may do this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus per short rest. Saves are determined by 8 plus con mod plus PB. Choose a variant earthquake, bludgeoning, wildfire, hurricane, or blizzard. All creatures within 10 feet of you must make a strength saving throw or be knocked prone and take 1d4 con modifier damage of the type chosen. What other subclasses there? Harbinger of Judgment. Okay. Come on now. At 3rd level, you tap into the loving and hateful side of your master's nature. As a bonus action, you may make a ranged spell attack using your strength modifier as the casting modifier against one target within 60 feet of you. On a hit, you deal 3d8 radiant damage, and that creature has their move speed set to 0. Okay. We're a melee class, but our subclass is shooting beams of light to root people and do a lot of radiant damage. Then you may target another creature that is not unconscious within 60 feet to heal them. What? Okay. We also get a number of times equal to proficiency bonus per long rest. You may add your constitution modifier to the result of an insight check, an investigation check, or a religion check. What? I'm going to stop here. So, thematically, this doesn't make sense to me. This doesn't make sense to me thematically. I don't understand what's going on. This is a Harbinger. This is a scion of the inevitable force of the universe. So, of course, as a scion, you get to add your strength to your AC, but only if you're not wearing armor. Harbingers don't wear armor. Of course, that's silly, ridiculous. They get every melee weapon, though. They get a fighting style, and they get the cleave feature as a class feature. That's classic Harbinger stuff, of course. And then at 3rd level, you have to make a choice. You have to make a choice. You can either be a Harbinger of Death. Oh, I didn't actually read this one. I'm going to skip it, though, because I assume it's not going to save anything. You can either be a Harbinger of Destruction. You can invoke your master and make a lot of damage happen around you. You can make a mini earthquake. Actually, that makes sense. Actually, I like that. Or you can shoot a beam of light and make someone unable to move and heal a buddy. Where are we? I don't particularly understand where we are. I don't understand why this isn't a barbarian. This could have been a barbarian. Mechanical complexity and depth. It's not that deep. It's pretty basic. That's why I'm like, this could have been a barbarian. A barbarian is more complex than this. Barbarian has more going on. This doesn't seem like it has. Doesn't have a lot. I think fighters are having more fun. I think barbarians are having more fun. Paladins definitely having more fun. Does this feel like D&D? Nah. I mean, yes, in the sense that like this is just a barbarian, but not as barbarian-y. It has less flavor, but it's the core is there. But if you were to take barbarian out of the game and put harbinger in the game, I would be like, I don't particularly understand this class. I don't understand what it's doing. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like it fits. And then balance-wise, no. Curious. The Tome of Vicious Mockeries. We saw that last time. It was a hoot. A+. A Bump in the Night. What is this? Oh, that's a That's a tight little stat block. I like it. If your brew adheres to a low word count limit, A+. Very good. Love it. Let's take a look. All right, we've got the CR18. Okay. Got a lot of hit points for CR18. It's a small fey, typically neutral. Speed 30 feet, climb 20 feet. Great. So it can get places. It can hide on the ceiling and watch you. While in an area of bright light, the Akaname has disadvantage on attack rolls as well as wisdom perception checks that rely on sight and saving throws to resist becoming frightened. Did I miss a word? It has disadvantage on attack rolls as well as on... Okay, yeah, a disadvantage. Okay, it just has disadvantage. It sucks in the light. Got it. Spider climb. It doesn't need spider climb. It already has a climb speed. The Akaname can climb difficult surfaces, including upside down on ceilings, without needing to make an ability check. All right. I actually would just remove that. Just, you don't need this. It's already got a climb speed. Stench. Any creature other than an Akaname that starts with its turn within 5 feet of the Akaname must succeed on a DC 12 con save or be poisoned until the start of the creature's next turn. On a successful saving throw, the creature... Okay. I don't know how I feel about that on a CR18 creature, but I see this doesn't have an attack at all, so it's probably fine, actually. Probably fine. The Akaname has advantage on saving throws to resist becoming charmed or unconscious. You know what? I don't know why that's there. I don't know why that's there. That's fine, though. There's a lot of hit points for CR18, but it doesn't have an attack, so it's probably balanced. Is it thematic? Only because of this picture. Without this picture, I would actually say I don't understand this creature. But with this picture, oh yeah. No, I get it. I get it. This thing is disgusting. It's surprisingly complex for what it is. It has this lice aversion, spider climb. This we could have just had the stench. We could have just had the stench, written everything else off. It would have been fine. It would have been a fine creature. Does it feel like D&D? Yeah. Yeah, this feels like D&D. This feels like D&D. 100%. The fact that it doesn't have an attack is kind of weird. But there are creatures that don't have an attack. They are CR0 creatures. But, you know, they exist. So this can exist. And then is it balanced? I'm not sure. This is kind of weird. This is kind of out there because it doesn't have an attack. So I'm just going to leave that alone. Oh, whoa, wait a minute. It does have an attack. It does have attacks. Pull the plug. Stop. Start over. Wait a minute. Okay. Melee weapon. It has... Sorry, I was looking at this and I was like, that's a good creature. You know what? I actually, you know... Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We have an entire other page. Oh, and there's a layer here? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I take back all of my good vibes because I'm starting to feel worried. Melee attack +4. This has a 10-foot reach. 5 or it does 1d6 +2 bludgeoning damage. CR18? Are we sure about that? That seems very high. This might be a CR1/4. Oh, it has a grapple too. Okay, wait a minute. And it also it restrains. And it has a bonus action. It can lick a surface, causing it to become sparkling clean, removing stains, mold, dirt, or uncleanliness. If a surface to be licked is a creature or moving target, the Akaname makes an attack with a sticky tongue against the target, but the attack has no effect other than to clean this. Oh, okay. So this is just flavor. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. The sticky tongue, okay. Thematically, sure. Mechanical complexity, sure. My main concern is balance. CR18 creatures do not have a lot of attack power. They can't, because if you have 8 of these, 8 creatures potentially doing out 8d6 damage per combat round. Level 1 characters don't have that many hit points. So there's a good chance you just flatten the party with 8 of these. And since this thing does have an attack, this stench, absolutely not. Absolutely, that's too much. That's crazy. And the rest of this stuff, I'm not sure what that's adding. All right, before I commit to that, let me actually check the next page. Okay, this is lore. This is described. This is building up the theme of this creature. Sure. If you change this challenge rating to CR 1/4 or maybe 1/2, I'm not actually sure which. Perfectly fine. This is it. It's a bit complicated still. There's a bit much going on here, but balance wise, perfectly fine. I like it. I like where it's going. I mean, I don't want to see this. This is disgusting. But as a DM, I like the idea of like a town being infested with these little guys. And the party has been tasked with getting rid of them. And the way that they determine their presence is cleanliness. This room seems clean. Investigation check. That I like that. I like that. That's making me smile as a DM. Fighter, the scumbag, and the paragon subclasses. Oh boy. Okay. Let's go. Okay, we got the scumbag subclass. I love saying that. I love that I get to say that. All right, what kind of fighter are you? I'm a scumbag. Okay. Probably could have picked a better title for this, but I'll move on. All right, immediately after you roll initiative, before anyone else takes their turn, you can move up to your speed once. Sure. A little silly, but sure. Once per turn, before making a weapon attack, you can subtract. Okay, actually, I have to pull back to this because this can get weird really fast if you try and exploit it. If you try and break it, because the DM decides when you roll initiative, so you can't do something like I would like to punch the fighter, and the paladin says I would like to punch the fighter, and the fighter is like I would like to be punched. Or no, they wouldn't say that. They'd say, I would like to dodge the punch. And the DM says, all right, let's roll initiative to see how that goes. The DM could just say, you're doing that to abuse this ability. So no. But the party could start fights with people and potentially abuse this feature. I'm worried. I think the DM might be able to rein it in, but I'm worried. Okay. That's this feature. We've got this other feature. Once per turn, before making a weapon attack, you can subtract your proficiency bonus from the roll. If it hits, the target is blinded, knocked prone, or has their speed reduced by 10 feet, 15 feet. This effect lasts until the end of their next turn. No saving throw. All right. Being able to blind on command like that is kind of... A creature blinded by this feature can't be blinded this way again for 1 minute. It's fine. It might be fine. A blind is pretty strong, but I don't know. I'd need to play test that. I'd be worried, but I wouldn't immediately go, no. I'd be worried, but once per turn, if you deal weapon damage to a creature suffering from blinded, poisoned, prone, deafened, or frightened. Hold on, let me just check something. The rogue can blind, I believe, by sacrificing some of their attack bonus. Because they get this feature called Cunning Strike. Cunning Strike, can it blind? It can poison, which is some of the same effect, but that's on a saving throw. Okay, there's no free blind. Daze, knockout, obscure. Oh, here it is. The target must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or it's blind. Okay, so even the rogue, and that's at 14th level, even the rogue has to make a saving throw before it can do that like this. So just being able to blind with no saving throw, that does raise a red flag for me. Once per turn, if you deal weapon damage to a creature. Also, this is absolutely a rogue feature. I know we're the scumbag, but that doesn't mean like we can just start sneak attacking and we get proficiency with stealth. There's a limit. I think we're okay where we're at right now, but we don't want to steal too much of the rogue shtick. Once per turn, if you deal weapon damage to a creature suffering from a condition, You deal an additional 1d4 damage for each of those conditions the target is suffering from. This damage is the same type as a triggering attack. Okay, that feels like so we're dipping into sneak attack territory. 100%. It's probably balanced. In fact, it's probably underpowered, but we're sneaking into sneak attack territory. I don't like it. Unexpected move. At the end of another creature's turn, you can use your reaction to move up to your speed, take a bonus action, or take an action. Cannot use the expended action type or movement during your next turn. Oh, okay. So we can front load our action. That's really powerful. That's really powerful. You know, if that action ends the combat, the downside doesn't matter. So we can kind of action surge, get out 2 actions, and then let our ally go, or whoever goes next, and then we can take a reaction, take our 3rd action of the round. Next turn, we don't get to take an action. But next turn may not come because we just won the game. Or the combat, not the game. If Action Surge wasn't in this game, this would be great. This would be great. A little complicated. I'm not sure I like it, but because Action Surge is in this game, I am worried. Does the action you take, can you do that with extra attack? Because if yes, then that's concerning. But if no, then this might be fine. You can use this feature twice and regain both expended uses during a short or long rest. Okay. Does Action Surge come back on a short rest? I think it doesn't. I think Action Surge is a long rest. No, it's short rest. All right. My bad. Once per short rest at level 15, when a creature within 5 feet declares an action, you can use a reaction to shove them before it resolves, interrupting the action. I mean, I bet that feels fun for the player, but I think the DM is going to get sick of this shit really fast. So you got to be really careful with that kind of stuff. At least it's only once per short rest. The creature must make a Constitution save. On a failure, they fall prone and the action is wasted. Okay, that's actually a problem. Now, if you just knock them prone, okay, I get that. That's fine. But if you knock them prone and, oh, you don't get to do anything this turn, that's, no. That's too much. You're going to get a DM that's real sick of your shit real fast. Any expended spell slots, items, or other resources are not expended. I doubt it. I doubt that's going to fly. Salt the wounds. When you reduce a creature to below half its hit points, maximum with a weapon attack, you can impose one of the following conditions on it. The condition lasts until the end of your next turn. Yeah, I'm worried for that for the same reason I'm worried for this. Just worried. Usually applying a condition of that caliber takes a saving throw. And we're just skipping that. We're going straight to the pain. Being a fighter does not exempt you from needing to have your opponents fail a saving throw. That's not a fighter shtick. Thematically, this kind of makes sense, but it also kind of is like, what are you a fighter or a rogue? It feels kind of like we're stealing the rogue's thunder with this a little bit, you know? I get what we're trying to do here. We're a dirty fighter, and rogues are dirty fighters, but we're not a rogue. And how do you thread the difference? The difference is probably we're using a greatsword, and the rogue is using a rapier, but none of that comes through in this subclass thematically. Mechanical complexity wise, this could be a problem. This is fine. This is fine. This could be a problem. Complexity wise. And that's it. Other than that, yeah. Complexity, DM burden, that's where it is. Does this feel like D&D? Yeah, this feels like D&D for sure. This is D&D. Is it balanced? I don't think so. I'm very concerned about being able to blind without a saving throw. I'm very concerned about this here too. disrupt plans. And I'm concerned about this if there's a way to abuse it. Let's take a look at the Paragon. Now, are we going to be a paladin? Are we going to steal the paladin's thunder? Let's find out. Whenever a hostile creature within 5 feet of you moves away from you, you can move up to your speed to stay within 5 feet of it. You can end this movement at any point, and this movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks against you. The amount you moved is subtracted from your movement speed during your next turn. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's not a paladin thing at all. I'm not sure how that's a Paragon thing, but cool. Level 3 parry. When you are hit by a melee attack, you can use your reaction to intercept the attack with your weapon, increasing your armor class by 30. Okay, here's a problem. Let's stop for a second. There's this thing called the Battle Master that we don't get in the basic rules. There's a thing called the Battle Master, and the Battle Master gets maneuvers, and one of those maneuvers is called parry. I'm pretty sure it's called parry, and what it does is it adds to your AC. This is a Battle Master maneuver, but we made it a class feature. That is not right. If this causes the attack to miss, you may make one weapon attack against the attacker as part of this reaction. Ooh. I really don't like when people do that, because that really stretches out how long it takes for a turn to resolve. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your strength or dexterity modifier, whichever is higher. You regain any expended uses during a long rest. Alright. If this had just said, you gain the parry Battle Master feature, and you get 2 maneuver dice, I would be happier, but then again, that I don't understand how that's a Paragon. But when I think Paragon, I'm thinking like we're trying to emulate the Paladin, but not be the Paladin. You gain advantage on Wisdom and Charisma saving throws. When you succeed on a Wisdom or Charisma saving throw, you gain advantage on the next attack roll you make before the end of your next turn. Balance-wise, that makes sense. Thematic-wise, that makes no sense. Why do you get advantage on Wisdom and Charisma saving throws instead of like proficiency? Proficiency would make more sense. Advantage does not make a lot of sense. And then if you succeed, you're better at attacking. Okay. Level 10, your training and experience cannot be disrupted. Once per turn, when you make a weapon attack with disadvantage, you can choose to ignore the disadvantage. All right. I think Rogue gets this feature too. So like balance-wise, yeah, whatever. When you take the attack action and hit with all attacks you make as part of that action, you can make one additional weapon attack with advantage. This is not a good idea because what this says is oh wait, no, never mind. Just kidding. Ignore me. Sorry. It's kind of silly though. It's kind of silly way to backdoor getting an extra attack. We're going to get 5 attacks per turn because of this feature right here at level 20. Not interested in trying to backdoor features like that. It's needlessly complex. And it's the same problem as just giving an extra attack. All right, level 18. Once per turn, when you're hit with a weapon attack as part of the attack action, you briefly enter a state of perfected combat. The next weapon attack you make as part of that same attack action doesn't require an attack roll. It hits automatically and deals the same weapon damage as your initial hit. Okay. Once per turn. There's no limit on that. Oh no. No. Absolutely not. We don't roll like that. We don't. That's. I mean, it's powerful. It's powerful. Is it fun to be like, hey, instead of attacking, I just hit? It's fun for a while, and then it stops being fun. Thematically, this doesn't make any sense to me at all. The Paragon, discipline, and honor make a reliable ally and a worthy combatant. And that means when someone moves away from me, I can chase them. And it means I can parry blows. And I'm better at resisting wisdom saves and charisma saves, and that makes me a better fighter. And I am so well trained that I can ignore disadvantage. And if I hit with all my attacks, I get an extra attack. Deal with it, everyone else. And then I'm so good at attacking. I'm just when I attack, the next time I attack, it's just automatic. This feels less like a Paragon and more like, what if I just fightered harder? You know? I can't say that I'm a fan of this. Complexity-wise, this is annoying because now I have to track my speed next turn when I take a reaction. And that's a lot more complicated than just being like, all right, I took a reaction last turn and I spent my action. So this turn I don't get an action. But it's like, okay, last turn I moved 20 feet. So I have 10 feet left. That's a lot more to keep track of. Parrying is just, I mean, complexity wise, whatever, that's fine. Head held high, yeah, that's fine. This is fine. This is okay. I have to track all if I hit every turn, but I'm probably doing that if I'm this class, so yeah, that's fine. And then complexity wise, that's fine. Does it feel like D&D? I don't know if automatic hits. Yeah, this feels like D&D. This feels like D&D. This feels like D&D. Yeah. Is it balanced? I don't think so. But the biggest sin is thematically. I don't. This is just we're a fighter, but we're fightering better. We're a better fighter. None of this really comes together into a theme that makes sense. The other one, the scumbag, yeah, that comes together. Problem is it comes together in a way that's not fighter. More trolls. There's more trolls. Let's look. All right, let's take a look at this one. Let's take a look at the stats. We got the medium aberration, a CR 1/2. Okay, we got a small boy, 18 hit points. That seems on point. It might be no, it seems on point. Immune to poison. Okay. Amphibious. Yep. Sense magic at will. Functions like detect magic, but is not magical. Okay. I'm not a fan of referencing spells in monster stat blocks because now I have, as a DM, to prep this creature, I have to go look up what detect magic is. It would have been better to just say, this creature can sense magic within 60 feet at will. But it's blocked by... we don't have to say it's blocked by anything. We can just say it senses magic within 60 feet. Done. We can say it's blocked by lead if we want. We don't have to. That making this simpler, I would appreciate. But this thing gets 2 attacks at CR 1/2. That's a problem, not only balance wise, but also the creatures below CR 1. It's expected that the DM's going to have a lot of them, and if you have a lot of them, and each one of them makes multiple attacks, that makes their turns take longer. And well, let's see. 2 pincer attacks. If it's grappling a creature, can use its tentacles once and place a one pincer attack. Okay. So it's doing 2d8 plus 2 damage, potentially, and it's grappling. At CR 1/2, absolutely not. That's way too high. It's got a tentacle. It can poison a creature. And while poisoned, the creature's speed is halved. That's fine. That's totally fine. But I think this is going to be way too much damage for a CR 1/2. Could be wrong. Joel. CR 4. This is just the big boy. It's the big boy. It gets 2 pincer attacks. This is the exact same creature, but it does slightly more damage, which is really bad because it's CR 4 versus CR 1/2. It can grapple larger creatures, and its DC for its tentacle poison is slightly higher. I mean, it's higher. It's not slightly higher. Yeah, comparing these two creatures, there's no way that both of these are correct. One of them is horrendously wrong, balance-wise. Thematically, that's fine. Complexity-wise, it's fine. I don't like having to look up Detect Magic, but that's fine. Does it feel like D&D? Yeah, this feels like D&D. Absolutely. Is this balanced? One of these is not balanced. Maybe both of them are not balanced, but one of them is not balanced. This cannot be. This cannot be correct. We've got variant traits for mutated Trolls. When it's hit by a melee attack, the attacker must make a saving throw or take poison damage. That's going to get out of hand very quickly if we go to higher challenge levels. But at low challenge level, that's fine. Because PCs start getting extra attacks. And having to make saving throw every time you hit someone is annoying AF. When you get to make 2 to 3 attacks per turn. It might be annoying even at low tier, because, you know, if you have a dual wielder, they'll make multiple attacks, even at level 1. But, whatever. Psychic Screech. Yep, that's a Psychic Screech. Each creature within 15 feet makes an intelligence saving throw or takes psychic damage and be stunned. Very mean, but very thematically D&D. Very, very much a D&D ability. The Troll's armor goes up by 2. Yep. Choose Acid, Cold, or Fire. The Troll gains resistance to that damage type, and its pincers deal additional damage of that type on a hit. Or we can just give Regeneration to our Troll. Alright. Good ways to vary up your monster. For sure. Oh, there's even more. Okay, I'm not going through all of those. I'm not going through all of these. I'm sure these are all good. Just from a representative sample of what I've seen. Let's take a look at the Juggernaut here. This is much different from the previous Trolls. We're amphibious, that's the same. This thing has advantage on strength saving throws and on ability checks. Hold on 1 second. Okay. The Troll senses magic within 120 feet. Otherwise, it's okay. This is detect magic, but it's longer range. Relentless Predator. If a Troll drops a creature to 0 hit points, it can move up to half its speed without provoking opportunity attacks, and it gets to make an attack as a bonus action. Mean, but okay. It's still making 2 pincer attacks. Its pincer does more damage though. I think it's still pretty low for CR8, but all right. Tentacles are paralyzing now and are paralyzing now. Were they paralyzing before? I don't think they were. Oh, they are. It started paralyzing at CR4, but not here. The creature speed is halved. I missed that, but okay, that's fine. And then we get the Crushing Slam here. Each creature within 10 feet must succeed on a DC 17 strength saving throw or make knocked prone and take a lot of bludgeoning damage. Oh, and this can move without provoking. Okay, so that's fine. This is a very nice demonstration of what happens when you like establish a creature early on in a campaign. You start out with little baby Trolls. Party's fighting them. Party's having fun. Good times all around. And then you fight the big boys, the Trolls here. Largely the same mechanics. Players know what to expect. They expect that, okay, this is bigger, so it's going to do more damage. The poison might be worse. All of that's totally fine. And then you get to the big boy here. And without doing anything, without explaining, without having to establish anything, you get for free. This thing is huge. So its attacks are going to do more damage. Its poison can be deadlier. It doesn't look like it is deadlier, but it's allowed to be deadlier. The players will totally expect that. It has sense magic. You've probably had the opportunity for that to come through in the past, so you don't need to. Like, it's not weird that this big boy has long range detect magic. You're just introducing this Relentless Predator ability and this Crushing Slam, and both of those are a lot easier to get the players to swallow if you work up to the Juggernaut with these guys first. You know, if you just drop a Juggernaut on them and they're like, this thing has a big claw and it can grab you and it's got poisonous, paralyzing tentacles, and and it can detect magic. You know, that's a lot to digest all at once. But if you start here with the little boys, pincers, tentacles, sense magic, that's it. Then you move on to the chulls. You can introduce the mechanics gradually, and it'll be a lot better of an experience for the players. So thumbs up for that. Thumbs up for that. And like, yeah, I like this. I don't know if this is balanced, because one of these stat blocks is not balanced for sure. I don't know which one, but one of them is. There's an even bigger one. No, that's not true. Nope, that's it. Okay. 20 minor magical properties. Returning. Once per day, you can call the item to your hand from up to 60 feet away. It requires line of sight and a path for it to fly to you. Okay. Averted gaze. Creatures instinctively avoid looking at it directly for too long. Okay, so this is all creative. Pretty creative stuff. Lie of light. A shadow never matches its form. Sometimes it moves when it shouldn't. Sometimes it's a different shape altogether. Dreambound. These are cool. These are great. So far. The bear dreams of holding it even before ever seeing it or knowing of it. All right, that's scary. I don't know how I'd do that, how I'd run that as a DM. But I'm not mad. I like it. Forgotten gift. Anyone who receives it as a gift forgets who gave it to them within an hour. I don't know how to make my players forget things. So if I have an NPC give my players this item, and then an hour later I'm like, you've forgotten who gave this to you, they take notes. So they don't need to remember. They can just look at their notes. And I can't be like, don't look at your notes. So I'm a little sketchy about this one. Spell wake. When a spell is cast within 20 feet, it glows faintly for 1 round. Sure. Dusk and dawn. Looks brand new at dawn, granting +1 to attack rolls. Visibly ages through the day, granting -1 to attack rolls. Okay, I'm not a big fan of that. That is more complicated to keep track of. But vibrates slightly when a storm is within 6 miles. Sure. Once per day, the item subtly tugs towards the nearest piece of lost or discarded equipment within 120 feet. This thing is a plot hook. Go this way. Go that way. I don't have to explain it. Just go. Great. A+. Domesticated animals seem to trust the bear without hesitation. Sure. Weightless. This item feels unusually light, regardless of its actual weight. You only gain +5 of movement speed while you were holding only it. I mean, I liked the first sentence, and then the second sentence went ahead and ruined it. So you're saying if I have this sword, it's weightless. I get that. That's perfectly fine. But if I'm only holding it, I don't have a shield. I don't have like anything else in my hand. I'm faster than if I put it away. That just escapes me. Doesn't connect. Thief's regret. If stolen, it grows uncomfortably warm in the thief's possession until returned or discarded. Okay, it's cool. This one I don't see we will come up in play very much. Depends on your definition of stolen. I guess most magic items the party receives are stolen because they are looted. This magic item just grows warm when you hold it. That's all it does. You can't identify it. It grows warm when it's stolen. Let's move on. Warded Whisper. When placed near a lock, it murmurs a one-word clue about what lies beyond. Okay. Sleeper's Grace. While in physical contact with the item, you always sleep peacefully. All right. Blind Spot. Creatures gain a -10 penalty to a spot it when placed among similar objects. All right. Blends in. Homesick. If taken more than a mile from the place where it was found, it grows heavier by 1 pound per week. Ugh. Okay. So now I have to keep track of how heavy this is as a DM. Kind of mean, but all right. This thing will weigh 300 pounds within a year. Whisper slip. When you speak while holding it, your voice cannot be overheard beyond 10 feet unless the listener knows your name. Sure. Weight of regret once per day becomes heavier when the holder is about to repeat a past mistake, one made since the attunement. So that's a way for the DM to tell the player, hey, don't do that. Okay, it's a little blunt, but some tables need that? Sure, why not? Final words. When someone perishes within 15 feet of the item, it briefly whispers their final unspoken thought. Only you hear it. Okay. Sure, that's some Dishonored stuff. And then roll twice, re-rolling any additional 20s. Cool. Technically, that doesn't count as a magical property, but all in all, good stuff. Campfire Demon. All right, my throat is starting to hurt, so I'm going to make this the last one. This is Campfire Demon. This is Campfire Mimic. Small demon. Is it a mimic or a demon? Does this explain? Okay. CR2. I don't think that's the right hit points for a CR2. Initiative -1. Resistance to cold, fire, and lightning. Immune to poison. Speaks abyssal. It's a demon, I guess. Even though it says mimic. I guess this is a demon mimic. Touching this creature or hitting with a melee attack causes 1d4 fire damage, and this creature sheds bright light out to 20 feet, like a fire. This creature appears to be a campfire, and as an action, can change any feature of its form while retaining the appearance of a campfire. While motionless, this creature is indistinguishable from a mundane campfire. It has a burning bludgeon, which does 1d4 or 1d6 plus 1 bludgeoning damage plus 1d4 fire damage. It can kindle. The hellish flames along this creature's body burn hotter and brighter. Its melee attacks deal an additional d4 damage. You'd never do this in combat because you'd rather just do the burning bludgeon. Got a restful aura. All non-demons within 80 feet of this creature must succeed on a DC 10 wisdom saving throw or fall asleep. Targets don't know why this is happening. This is not a CR2 creature at all. No, absolutely not. This is way too weak for CR2. I get why it's a mimic. It doesn't feel like a mimic. There are a lot of creatures that look like objects that are, you know, they have a false appearance, like animated armor looks like a pseudo armor. A assassin vine looks like a tree until it doesn't. A cloaker looks like a cloak until it tries to choke you. Is it the ropers that look like stalactites? Or I think there might be another creature that goes on the ceiling and it looks like a stalagmite, whichever one's on the ceiling. This doesn't feel like a mimic. Campfire Demon. That sounds right. Campfire Mimic. I don't know. Thematically, I get it. It's a fake campfire. If you rest by it, you'll regret it. It's not very complex. There's a lot more words here than there need to be, but I think running this creature is very simple. Here's a campfire. It's over there. Oh, you rested near it? All right, roll initiative. It hits you for 1d6 plus 1 plus 1d4 fire damage. Yeah, simple. Does it feel like D&D? Creatures that look like objects is 100% D&D. This is 100% a D&D creature. I would give it. I don't know why it's a demon. I don't care. It's fine. D&D. Is it balanced? No. This is not a CR2 creature. Mm-mm. Let's do a comparison to the mimic. Now the mimic, that feels like a mimic. This is 100% what I expect when someone says you're going to be fighting a mimic. There it is, mimic. All right, so this is a CR2 creature. It has 58 hit points. Let's go ahead and look at this again. 27. Its attack, it has a bite that does 1d8 plus 3, or 2d8 plus 3 if the target is grappled, and it does an additional d8. It's a lot more than this, where is it? d6 plus 1 plus d4. It does have a sleep effect. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. It does also have a fiery body, so it is doing 1d4 damage whenever people hit it with a stick. But no, I don't think this is a CR2 creature. I mean, the Mimic is a CR2 creature. I don't think this is a CR2 creature. This is just not nearly enough hit points, not nearly enough damage. If I were to change it, I would either not call it a Mimic or give it a reason to lure creatures into touching it. You know, like put the one ring inside of the flames. You know, there's a ring in there and it's glowing and it's treasure. You know. Just being a campfire that magically puts you to sleep is not. It's almost a mimic, but it's not a mimic. Not for me. Okay. That is it for me. I leave it here. We stop on the campfire mimic. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm gonna go rest my voice. Hope you're all having fun out there. Hope you're having fun games. See you all later. I would like to play some games maybe tomorrow. I'll be streaming that. All of the Steam Next Fest demos that I enjoyed but didn't stream, I think, and still have demos is what I'm going to do tomorrow. But we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.